Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the 18th round of the Espeed Contender Series, the GBR Express Flat Track 200 here from Loudon. Field is getting themselves rolling off right here, right now. So let's take a quick look at your starting grid. On pole is going to be Sean Powell and Scotty Reinshield out in front with Keith Stewart and Brandon Holder in that second row. Matt Kingsbury and Tim Marlowe roll off row 2, with Mike Bruno and Sean Ryan are on row 3. Brad Neer and John Berga are on the 4th row, with Doug Lemons and Marshall Berry on round of the 5th row. Doug Lemons and Marshall on row 6. Brent Keith, Timmy Logwood Jr. row 7. James Torrey, Perry Snelson are on row 8. Greg Thompson and Kerry Allen Stewart on row 9, with Sean Mulsick and Doyle Lawrence rounding out the top 20. And now we can get this fly through: Doc Stout, Ryan Lang, Everdef Lane, Tyler Hayes, Tim McQueen, Bobby Everhart, James Hickson, Craig White, Harold Decker, Damian Plymester, Brad Patterson, Malik Ray, and Paul Bliss round out the field tonight. Sorry for the slightly late start. Had to figure out a couple of tech issues on my end. Davis Richards will also be joining me at some point, but as the field comes through, the green flag flies, and we are green in the GBR Express Flat Track 200 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway as they go screaming in turn number 1. 33 trucks, all for the first time, and expect a lot of feistiness from this entire group here. It's a very racy racetrack here at Loudon, despite its flatness. A couple different grooves that you can run as your race leaders now head into turn 3 and 4 for the first time tonight of 200. And off the corner there will come and scream right down this front straightaway for the first time, and it's all going to be the 41 of Sean Powell out in front, with the 27 of Scotty Reinshield slotting into that second spot here in the opening lap. Soon towards 3 and 4, these guys are going to come side-by-side battle here. A little few cars back. You have the 7 of Keith Stewart involved, the 19 of Mike Bruno, Matt Kingsbury involved in this little fight as well. He's actually just out in front of it. 28 of Tim Marlowe, as he's actually fighting with that 7 truck as they come off that 4th corner. As you can see, that upper groove tends to be the stronger line. We saw that last night in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of that tonight as well. That upper line really favors these trucks, a little bit more banking up there, but you will see some different lines potentially come in over the course of this one. So down the front straightaway, we actually have a caution on the racetrack. Going to try to figure out who that is for you in just a moment. Just clicking through here. Looks like the 42 of Brad Patterson involved in something really early here. We'll get a replay here up on your screen from Anzoil. And coming off corner number 2, that 42 truck just lost it all on his own in the opening couple of laps. Up and over went Brad Patterson. Well, that's pretty much going to be the end of his night from there. Get another look at this one as they were going into the corner. You see up top, they were 3 wide for a moment. The 22 truck on the bottom got out of it. And that 42, they just came off the corner. That back end just stepped out on him. It's pretty much the end of his night right there. Not much you can really do once something like that happens, but we come back to live. Be interesting to see. Doesn't look like we have any takers coming down pit road here in the early stages. Everyone choosing to stay out for now. Actually, we're going to get some people coming down pit road. About the back half of the grid is really the first bit of takers. You see 48 trucks on pit road. I see the 20, the 24, the 8. That's Doyle Lawrence. The 71 is down there. The 3 machine of Craig White also on pit road. So half dozen or so cars opting to take the early pit stop. Most of the field, though, not going to be doing that. So I should be joined by my co-commentator here shortly. It is David's birthday here, so not really sure what he's up to. Regardless, field currently rolling here as we get ready for the first restart of the night. Hopefully this isn't the start of a trend here, and hopefully these guys can keep it green, because these can be some pretty long laps here at New Hampshire, especially once you start throwing a lot of yellows into a mix in a 200 lap race. So it's on the longer end for these guys. Typically, they're used to the 160 some odd lap count that you get at the cookie cutters. considering that the laps here are about that same time. You put an extra 50 laps on the board. It gives you an idea about what sort of time these guys are going to be dealing with tonight in these trucks. It's going to feel like a much longer race because of the slower laps, certainly because of the flatter track. So still Sean Powell out in front, Scotty Reinshield in second, mixing their names up just a little bit. Brandon Holder ended up picking up a spot on that opening run to get to third, with Matt Kingsbury rounding out your top four at the moment. He's up +1. Tim Marlowe also +1. Keith Stewart, trend that we've seen from him in the past, that he qualifies well and just immediately starts losing spots. He's already down 3 in the 6th position, so not what you'd want to see whatsoever. Brad Neer as well. He's up, he is up 1 from 9th up into 8th. Big mover right now is actually this 88 truck of Greg Thompson, 17th up to 12th in those opening couple laps, so +5 for him. Always good to see. Also have +7 here for Paul Bliss, but he's buried so deep in the field that he surely picked up a few of those spots based on the incident. He's 33rd is where he started, and he's up to 26th already. And the field gets ready to go back to green flag racing. They're going to bring him side by side. And hopefully Mr. Sean Powell can bring us to a nice, clean restart. Get everyone going here clean. You see the 41 truck choosing that upper lane. So down the back straightaway, as everyone just gets themselves sorted on where they want to be. 5 of Brandon Holder on the inside. Matt Kingsbury, of course, running up top. That 27 car needs to pull in and close that gap up just a little bit, giving a lot of leeway to that 41 truck. They now rolled through and in towards 3 and 4. That iRacing Mustang safety car get ready to pull down off of pit road, and then we'll be going back to green flag racing with 193 laps to go. So here we go. Let's get it started. Pace car on pit road. We are back to green flag action here at New Hampshire, and down in towards turn 1. They will go for the second time on the restart. Whole field screaming right past and in towards turns number 1 and 2. See the first side-by-side there between the 21 and the 5. That's Matt Kingsbury and Brandon Holder involved with that fight as they work down the long back straightaway and in towards turn 3. Brandon Holder going to try to slot it down on that bottom groove. Turns through the center of the corner. Gets run off turn 4 and down the front straightaway. Still going to stay side by side. See one car on the upper lane, a couple truck lengths behind. Get a little bit loose. That, I believe, is fighting with the 28 of Tim Marlowe. But Matt Kingsbury is going to get the spot and be able to hold on to that. Let's take a look now to the 28 of Marlowe. He's fighting with the 19 truck of Mike Bruno on the outside of him. You also have the 70 of Doug Lemons in that lime green truck just behind. Bruno's going to be able to take that spot away from the 28 truck. So everyone getting themselves single file. We got a yellow here in towards 3 and 4. Bit of a pile up. Paul Bliss is involved. Let's see what exactly happened here in towards turn 1. Take a look at the chopper cam. There are 3 wide into turn 1. Excuse me, into turn 3 is where the accident happened. But into turn 1, 3 wide for a moment. Off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. You see the 85 and the 20 still running close to one another. Malik Ray definitely not having a great start tonight. And in towards turn, it started out in front of him actually. It was, I believe that is the 56 who got caught up in that, Kerry Allen Stewart. So get another look at that just to see what happened. As there we go. 56 car of Kerry Allen Stewart on that lower groove. See him with the flames down on that inside line. Down the back straightaway in towards 3 and 4 they come. What exactly happens? I think he may have got set off of the bumper of, it looked like a glove box racing truck to me. Not exactly sure which one. Just trying to get a better look at this. This should get us the look that we want. Let's see, through the center of the corner. You see that 56 truck down on the inside. Tries to get the run off. And who is that behind? It's Timothy McQueen who's behind in that red and black truck. And into turn 3, yeah, that's exactly what happened. That 33 truck just didn't stop. Pretty much sent that 56 car right around. So, unfortunate there for them. As we come back to live pictures as the field cycles through under yellow. And as this is our second yellow of the night, we're going to take a quick break here on RaceSpotTV, so do not go away.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As we're still under caution flag right here, as they're going to get in 2x2. We're about to go green here. I'm Davis Richards, along with Randy Cheneth in the booth here. And
this is already going well.
The green flag's out. Sorry, I might sound a little rusty. This is my first time ever leading the broadcast, but hey, we'll figure it out as the night goes on. But we've got Sean Powell over here in the lead as he comes into corner number 1 in the 27 of Scotty Reinschild's trying to look below him, but they're going to go single file with the 5 and Brandon Holder right behind him.
Yep, so down the front straightaway they go. Top 3, Sean Powell, Scotty Reinschild, Brandon Holder, Matt Kingsbury, and Brad Neer round out your top 5. It's been all that 41 truck all evening thus far. A couple fights a little bit deeper in the field. You have the 7 of Keith Stewart fighting with, I believe that's the 28 of Tim Marlowe. 28 of Marlowe gets the better of Keith going into 1, but going into it, Keith really drives it down to the inside hard. You're going to be able to nose out in front. Davis gets a good run coming down the back straightaway, but that outside line is strong here at Loudon.
It is too, especially with a track like this. This track doesn't have any banking, so it's really hard, and you really got to set up those corners, roll through the middle, and really pick it up on exit, and that's where you're going to make the most speed. As we see right now with the number 19 machine of Mike T. Bruno, he gets right behind the 04 and the 7 machine, and the 70 of Tug Lemons almost rear-ends him, as the 70 has to get off of the gas and get on the brakes just a tad to keep from rear-ending him, and that's something that we're going to see lap after lap here tonight, as these drivers having to avoid from rear-ending each other, because all these drivers have different braking lines, different throttle lines, and it's a completely different strategy than the drivers behind them, especially with it being open setup.
So down the front straight, they're going to go riding on board here with the Express Motorsports truck of Doug Lemons in towards 1 and 2. You see about 153 miles an hour as you get into the entry into the corner, and about 100 miles an hour, the slowest speed you're going to get through the center of 1 and 2, and down the back straight once again, clicking 140. 150, maybe a little quicker down here into turn 3, but still watching this fight out in front between Bruno and Keith Stewart as they are still just battling side by side, and the 19 is going to pick that spot up over Keith.
And Randy, we got a caution out on the field.
Let's see if we can find who it was. Looks like maybe John Verga is the car who went around. We're going to take a quick look here. See down the back and in towards turn 3. Let's see what happens to this 48 car. Fighting with the 8, I believe, of Doyle Lawrence. And yep, him and the 8 just take a little bit of contact. That 48 gets sent around, and I think it's the 71 who ends up getting into him.
Oh, what an absolute heartbreaker for those drivers there. They were kind of marred back in the back of the field, but never got to really see their true potential. But they don't have that too much damage. They can still get up here and fight with the rest of these drivers.
Yep, definitely see that. Saw that, of course, on the AMSOIL instant replay. So, field under caution once again, and we've not yet really seen a long run, Davis. We have, thus far we've had about a 2 to 3 lap run to open the race. Then we got a caution, then a 2 to 3 lap race, and then a caution, and then we just ran about 3 to 4 laps, and then another yellow. So these guys, they've not been able to really figure out what they got underneath them just yet.
Yeah, and they really haven't. You see some drivers right now, starting with the 21 machine of Matt Kingsbury and the 28 of Tim Marlowe and the 7 of Keith Stewart, along with a few other drivers, go down pit road and use this time to pit. So we haven't had that many green flag laps, so I'm a little surprised by this option here. But we're going to see if it pays out for them, because they're going to be marred back in the traffic, especially with that number 21 machine giving up some pretty good track position.
Yep, definitely going to be the case. So a handful of trucks taking the this early strategy call. It's going to be a bit risky, Davis, but we'll have to see what ends up panning out here. It's still early. Could be a fuel economy call, but I definitely agree. I think I would favor track position in a race like this, especially with all the cautions we've seen thus far. There's no sign this really that they're going to let up. We still have a lot of trucks, even with the number of cautions we've had out on the racetrack. Brad Patterson, James Hickson, Harold Decker, and Ryan Lang, really the only cars that have ended up on the wrong side of the wall here. So for pretty much everyone still involved, I would really favor the track position here tonight. Don't really want to get into a stacked up, try to run through the back of the pack when everyone's as stacked up as they've been on these restarts.
Yeah, and another thing to keep in mind too is this race here tonight has only got an 11x incident limit. For those viewers that are new to iRacing, that basically means that you can only have 11 incidents. You get 2 for hitting the wall, 4 with another contact of a driver. So if you get into 3, say, wrecks or even bumps and it wrecks the other driver, you're out of the race. So you got to keep that in mind when you're back in the field and back in, say, the hornet's nest, rather than being up front and being, per se, comfortable.
Yep, it's one of the things you definitely have to keep in mind here. As we're going to do another lap under caution. Already 10% distance in this one, 15 minutes into this thing. So
I only missed the first 10 minutes. I think we're doing pretty good here.
Yeah. Yep. Davis's birthday. He had to go have a celebratory swig of alcohol before he got here after work, but that's okay. We will only hold him and we will only hold it and his mild alcoholism heavily against him. So nothing to worry about for Mr. Davis Richards. If you keep that up, Davis, we'll have to dock your pay.
Yeah, definitely don't want that, and definitely gonna have to not drink anymore for the rest of the stream. But yeah, I definitely don't want to dock in the pay. But hey, we're still here to have a good race. We're gonna see a good race here. We got a lot of fast drivers up front. That 41 of Sean Powell is still leading the race, followed by the 27 of Scott Reinschild. Another driver too, that 19 of Mike T. Bruno. He's one of the newer developmental drivers. This is only his 3rd race with the league, so we're gonna have to see maybe if he can do something there in the 6th position. He might have something for these drivers here tonight, Randy.
41 car doing his best to go out and pass the pace car, but of course he's not going to be able to as they head in towards turn 3, Davis, and you get ready to bring us back to green.
Yes, I am. As you see, I'm still 2 by 2. Pace car leading them into turn 3. And it looks like they've delayed the start there.
So we're going to have a few more laps of caution, and we'll see if the lights go out here this time. Bit of confusion. See if I can get some clarification about what in the world's going on.
I just spot a little bit of debris coming out of turn 2.
Okay, we all know there's no virtual debris, so I've gotten the technical response from race control, and is that there was some things happening apparently at the back of the field. Field wasn't really properly aligned, so they extended 1 caution. And they extend the caution 1 lap, and now the lights go out. We should be going green.
Yeah, in the back of that field, the last car on the lead lap is a 56 of Kerry Allen Stewart. And if you'll remember right, Randy, 2 weeks ago, he was our Daytona winner. So he's marked back here pretty deep in the field. We're going to have to keep an eye on him as this night goes on. But that pace car is still leading these drivers around. They're 2 by 2. And coming into turn 3, so I'm really excited to see this restart here, see if Sean Powell's able to hold off the likes of Scotty Reinschild, Brandon Holder, Brad Neer, and Mike T. Bruno. And that pace car is going to take that hard left turn. And green flag is out as you see the 27 of Scotty Reinschild right below the 41 of Sean Powell. The 41 gets about a truck length advantage on the 27, goes in behind him, but now you've got a battle for 3rd place as Brandon Holder and Brad Neer are fighting each other off heading out of turn 2.
So side by side for P3, and it's not for very long as the 5 truck picks that spot up. Now you have Matt Kingsbury fighting with the 04 truck of Sean Ryan, who did not get a good restart. Already down a couple spots on this one. Can Kingsbury get the drive off the bottom here? It's typically a place that struggles as they work their way down the front straightaway here, and Kingsbury's going to have to get back in line.
Yes, if you remember right, Kingsbury is one of these first drivers that has 4 fresh Goodyear tires on that machine.
That is. Go ahead.
I'm sorry about that. So we're going to have to see how he fares against these drivers with old tires. So he's the first one. The rest of the drivers around him, he has better tires than them as he gets to the low side of the 04 of Sean Ryan. See if he can clear him coming off the corner here. See him get a little loose right there, but he's got that thing under control. But that 4 of Sean Ryan with those older tires is still giving him a fight.
This is why I was talking earlier about liking the track position, because even though he's out near the front of the field, he's fighting with older trucks with older tires. But with all the cautions, the tires really aren't that bad. Finally able to get a decent run is Kingsbury. Might be able to make something of this in towards turn 3. Pretty much even as they roll in towards 3 and 4. You see that 04 truck force way up to the top side of the racetrack, gets loose, and now that we have a handful of laps been run on those tires, Davis, I think it might be starting to pan out for the 21 car and the pace going his way.
Yeah, I think you're right. And back in the field, they were about 3 wide for about 2 laps, but with the 2 of James Torrey, but they kind of sorted themselves out and got themselves double wide back there. But yeah, I think you're right too. With the drivers of the 21 of Matt Kingsbury, as you see him get around the 04 of Sean Ryan, now he's going to set his sights on Mike T. Bruno. But the longer he's behind these drivers, the more and more it hurts him, and the more useless those newer tires come against the older tires.
Next fight we're going to have is the 28 and the 04. The 28 just picked up that spot, and they're also fighting behind the 70 of Doug Lemons, the 4 of Timmy Logwood Jr., the 7 of Keith Stewart. All drivers involved in this one. I believe you also have Greg Thompson in the 88 involved in this crap as well, as they're going to go side by side in towards 3 and 4. And then off the front straight they'll go once again as they single file out just a little bit. Greg Thompson going to continue fighting though. When that car out in front of him of Timmy Logwood Jr. looks down to the bottom. That 4 car has dropped a couple of spots as Brad Neer up in front was in trouble.
Yeah, he was. You see him losing a spot there. The 28 of Tim Marlowe, and now the 04 of Sean Ryan is going to take advantage of it too as he gets on that low side, tries to get around him. I think he's going to get him here on the exit. No, he's not. The 9 of Brad Neer is still going to lose that spot. So let's take a look back here, see if we can find out what happened.
I'll have to take a look here in a moment as things continue happening up and down the field. 20 truck of Malik Gray. That's someone right there, Davis, who I think maybe a penalty or something didn't qualify the way he would have wanted. Started this race in the 32nd spot. He's already up 15 positions in P17. Shouldn't really be a surprise that 20 truck is flying through the field.
He is, and he's last week's winners too, as we've seen him put an absolute clinic on last Wednesday night. But yeah, that 20 of Malik Ray, he is always someone to watch here, as you've seen how many positions he's picked up. But watch how he gets through this traffic. Watch how he uses these drivers up. But see too, he's got to be able to avoid the trouble here too. This is short track racing, and he's got to be able to avoid that hornet's nest and keep that truck clean so he can have a chance to get that checkered flag at the end.
I know that was a bit of a discussion, I think, with the real race this weekend, and we definitely talked about it on the NPass broadcast as well, as it is New Hampshire technically a short track, and really the way I really identify a short track, Davis, actually has less to do with overall the length of it and just the way the track races, and when you keep that in mind, I would 100% say that New Hampshire definitely races like a short track. The only thing you don't really get is the sort of super tight You don't get the fact that the lap traffic is just right up the road from you. It takes you a while to get those lap trucks, those lap cars. But outside of that, everything is pretty much as it would be on a short track here. Is the 5 car. We're going to have a look up the inside of Scotty Reinshield. Going to nose into that second spot for a moment. They run off corner number 2 and down the back straightaway. But Scotty will have the run advantage up on that upper groove.
He is going to have that upper advantage up there. And back to your point too, is, you're right, this is a mile track, and I call it a short track, but these drivers are still running 30-second lap times, so they're basically running the same times as you're running a mile and a half.
Yeah, it really is for these guys as they work their way through, and that's one of the things I talked about before you managed to get here, Davis, the fact that it's the lap times aren't much different from what they typically are on a 1.mile racetrack. But the lap count is 200 tonight as opposed to the 130, 160, whatever the number is these guys are used to running. They're going to be in these trucks for about an extra half hour to 40 minutes tonight if the race is sort of an average duration. If we get a lot of yellows, it's going to be a long night for these guys.
So you're saying I should have took another celebratory drink?
No.
Okay, but yeah, and you're absolutely right too, and that can have a impact too on the driver's mental focus. I mean, yes, this is virtual racing, but this absolutely has an impact on your focus and on your ability to drive these vehicles and to focus for so long and for a long period of time. It can really take it out of you, and you can make a mistake just like that. And it looks like I got a private message. I'm going to be alone here for the next few minutes. So we're going to keep watching this race here with the 41 of Sean Powell. He's still leading. It's got about a half a second lead on the 5 of Brandon Holder. But Brandon Holder is keeping up with him. So I'm watching right here as Brandon Holder goes about a half a lane up higher on the exit of that corner. I think Brandon Holder has got something for the 41 to Sean Powell. I think he's just sitting back there, seeing what he can do, trying to watch that 41 make a mistake. And they're driving such different lines, too, and such different braking and gassing throttle points that the 5's got to be careful to not rear in the 41 of Sean Powell. But as I look throughout this field here, they're pretty much single file, and we've got a caution out. Wow, looks like that was back in turn 2 on lap 37. It's going to start with the, it looks like the 24 of Everett F. Lane was involved. As it looks like, yeah, there's just trouble right there with that 24 of Everett F. Lane and multiple other drivers. Maybe the 56 of Kerry Allen Stewart was involved. It looks like the 33 of Timothy McQueen started that accident right there. He's got a blown engine, so unfortunately he's going to take that thing behind the wall, and that's going to be the end of that number 33's night.
Yep, we're taking a look at it here on the replay and see that 33 truck having problems in the center of 1 and 2. Spikes it up into the outside wall. The 81, the 48, nowhere to really go. 24 able to miss it there. 56 may be involved as well somehow, but that's going to be pretty much the end of Timothy McQueen's night. With that caution, we are going to step away as the entire field comes down pit road pretty much. We'll take a look to see what happens here on the race off of pit road, and then we'll step aside for a quick caution. For a quick commercial break. Everyone on pit road, right side tires going up for everyone. Maybe some 2-tire callers here. It's been sort of a short run. Doesn't look like there's going to be too many, though, if any at all, as the 41 gets off pit road with the race lead. The 5 in second. Looks like that the 27 got into that second spot, and Matt Kingsbury may be having some issues. But we're going to step aside here on RaceSpotTV. Do not go away.
And welcome back to the Espeed Contender Series at New Hampshire, presented by RaceSpotTV, as that pace car takes that hard right left turn onto pit road. And you see these drivers, green flag is in the air. It's the 41 of Sean Powell, leads them across the start-finish line, coming into 1 and 2, and they're double stacked behind him right there. It's the 5 of Brandon Holder, gets below the number 19 of Mike Bruno. It's the 5 of Brandon Holder, tries to pinch him off that corner. He's going to quite be able to do is he's got about a quarter fender on him.
So down the back straight and in towards 3 and 4, they're going to come. That 5 of Brandon Holder up the inside of that 19 car of Mike Bruno, still doing his hardest to keep that car there. A little bit of contact
right there off turn 3 and 4. That's going to be Brad Neer is going to be involved in that one, and one other driver.
So Amsoil instant replay coming up. The 7 of Keith Stewart was involved as well. You see that black number 7 in the center of your screen. And the field rolls down the back straightaway right here and in towards 3 and 4. Try to get a look at it. This low angle, unfortunately, not super great for it. See it with all the 9 car. Brad Neer out in front just lost it all by himself and just about corrected it, and then just overcorrected and spun right up the racetrack into that 7 truck. Actually, Keith should have been able to just about escape some issues there. But with that quick caution, we are going to step away once again. So we will be right back. Not much really happening there in that 3/4 of a lap run, so do not go away.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? You know, it was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. You know, my thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshield's at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. but can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
And we're back here at the Espeed Contender Series at New Hampshire, presented by RaceSpotTV. Is that pace car still leading these cars down out of turn number 4? Going to take that hard left turn onto pit road, and Sean Powell's going to lead him off. His green flag is out right there. As you see, the 41 of Sean Powell gets a jump on the 5 of Brandon Holder, followed by the 19 of Mike Bruno and the 27 of Scotty Reinschild. Scotty Reinschild almost makes contact with the 5 of Brandon Holder as they head into corner number 2 and onto the exit and onto that long back stretch.
Riding on board with Greg Thompson, and you see the 28 truck of Tim Marlowe get into some problems, has to lift off the throttle. Does that 8 truck just a little bit. Good smart driving with the way that we've had all the cautions thus far tonight. Seems like they got these trucks set up, Davis, in such a way that they're actually pretty tight. And because of that, they're like, our GBR engineers have the setup so tight, we have to take some brake bias out of it to help make the cars turn. So they're likely pushing that brake bias, dialing it further and further rearward. That's likely why we're seeing all these guys pretty much struggle loose.
Randy, you absolutely stole the words right out of my mouth. I couldn't have said it better myself, but they're making a pretty good show right here as that 41 of Sean Powell is still leading them. The 5 of Brandon Holder and the 27 of Scotty Reinschild are still going at it back and forth.
Oh, we got a spinner.
Still side by side.
Six truck, Perry Snelson, spinner off of turn 2. Amsoil instant replay coming up. Let's take a look and see what we got here. That 6 machine, you see him running through the center of the field here. He was 13th at the time of this accident. See the 05 car as well behind him.
Yeah, and Randy, that just looks like he just got on that throttle way too soon. And man, he just put too much throttle down on it, and it just caused those rear end tires to lose traction coming off the corner and just spun her around. That's a tough break for that number 6 machine of Perry Snelson, but luckily everyone else was able to avoid it. But he's going to go down pit road, get some repairs on that machine, get 4 fresh Goodyears, maybe a full tank of Sunoco fuel. Might be able to stretch that fuel mileage out, and might be his only pit stop of the race here if he can really hold that fuel mileage in. But we'll have to keep an eye on him to see if he can get back up through the field, or if that damage is going to completely end his night.
Davis, if goobers is what causes you to be loose on the brakes on on turn in and corner entry, is it gobbers that make you be loose on throttle application and turn exit?
I think that's how that works, Randy. I mean, I could be wrong right there, but yeah, you know, Randy, I think you're probably absolutely right.
So with that, we are going to step away once again here on RaceSpotTV as we had another phenomenal 1 mile long restart here. So we are going to take a quick commercial break, throw it over to the sponsors, particularly the Ford GTE team.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? You know, it was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. You know, my thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshield's at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
actually, really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have, great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Couple of separate lines developing, three wide action on a turn two. Craig Kinzer, Casey Kane, and Garrett Pittman going at it.
I think the differences between, NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to
And welcome back to the Espeed Contender Series at New Hampshire, presented by RaceSpotTV. Wonder how many times I'm going to say that here tonight, Randy, but hey, these boys are still putting on a show here tonight. We still got Sean Powell leading that at 5 and Braden Holder. He's had some opportunities here, starting that inside position. The 41 of Sean Powell still been starting that outside. If that 5 can time this restart right, he can get right beside him. That pace car takes that hard left turn, and the 41 of Sean Powell absolutely obliterates him. But look at that 19 of Mike Bruno. He anticipated that start, and he's right on the rear bumper of the 41 of Sean Powell.
So good action here up near the front of the field as they roll through 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway, the 19 of Mike Bruno, who's up 5 spots on the night thus far, 55 laps into this thing. Let's see, in towards corners number 3 and 4. See everyone pretty much favoring that upper line, and things are starting to get a little bit more spread out here, Davis.
Yeah, and I'd hate to say it, but look who's sitting in that 7th position, battling the 21 of Matt Kingsbury for that 6th spot. Yeah, that's the 20 of Malik Ray, started in the 32nd position. I can't do any A&M math tonight, but I know that is a lot of spots right there that he's made up. And he's going to get that 6th position, and he's not quite going to be able to clear the 21. Let's see if he's able to clear him in coming into turn number 3. Gets in that, still utilizing that low line while everyone's up top. He's almost got him clear, as he almost gets it loose right there, but that 21 of Matt Kingsbury is fighting him hard on that outside line.
He is, and something interesting that I just noticed is this driver Malik Gray was going to the center of the corner. Malik is actually shifting that truck. He was down to 3rd gear as he came off turn 4. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if he does it again here on this end of the racetrack. Did not do it in 1 and 2, but he's down to the inside still with that 21 car, Kingsbury on his outside. And let's see, it'll be roughly now, and there it goes. Quick blip down. The 27 truck of Scotty Reinshield is going to come down pit road, and I don't think that's a scheduled stop, Davis. He may have gotten a penalty of some sort.
I think it is. I think he did get a penalty right there. I'm going to go back here and look to see if I can find out what happened to that 27 machine.
So we'll have to wait and see. I'll see if I can get some confirmation from race control. Indeed, he did. It was a drive-through for the 27. Did not stop anywhere on pit road, so likely did something a little bit naughty on the restart, and was actually as a line change on the restart before getting to that start-finish line, and that's going to get you every single time. I'll see if we can cue that up on the AMSOIL replay.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. That's exactly what happened. That 27 of Scotty Ryan shows you see him cut to the outside line, and that's a lane change before the start-finish line. You can't do that, and I've been busted with that before a time or two in various leagues. It actually cost me the win one time.
So we'll cycle through here. I want to get the replay sorted so you can actually get a clear look at it. You can see he was starting on the bottom as we used a little bit of a high-tech race spot fast forward there. So he's on that bottom groove, and let's see when he goes for it. We're right on board with him here on this start. Gets on the throttle, and you see he's in the middle of the racetrack, and yep, he goes all the way up to that outside wall. So a good catch and a good call there from race control to send him down pit road. He's not going to be very happy about it, though.
He is not, Randy, but that replay right there was brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. As we go back here to the lead, the 41 of Sean Powell's got about a 7/10 second of a lead on the 19 of Mike Bruno. Look at Malik Ray up to 4th. He got past the 70 of Doug Lemons, and there's a caution.
So caution on the speedway. Let's see. I see the 28. So Tim Marlowe. Truck who brings this one out, and let's take a look once again. He was 7th on the racetrack actually just before this happened. So let's take a look on our AMSOIL instant replay, the first in synthetics, and the 28 truck well, not going to be likely first of anything after spinning like this. Fighting with that 04 truck. It's a little bit of contact, got set up into the outside wall, and pretty much just spun on the nose, the 88. So not much Marlowe could really do there.
Yeah, well, it looked like he was actually spinning before he touched the 04 of Sean Ryan.
Yeah, just a little bit. He definitely stepped out and got loose on his own, Davis, but after that, it's pretty much all she wrote when he ended up getting sent around.
Yeah, it is, but he's just got some rear end damage. Doesn't look like he got any front end damage, so that machine should still be good. He's going to go down pit road, get a 4 fresh set of Goodyear Eagles, put some Sunoco race fuel in that machine, and then start from the back of the pack. Now it's just going to be patience, 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 patience. He's going to be the last car on the lead lap. That's going to put him in the 26th position, so he's going to have a long work ahead of him here. But you know who else that helps out? That's going to help the 27 of Scotty Reinshield.
Indeed it is, and we're going to take a quick look here as we step aside once again. We're not going to go to commercial. We're going to watch the July edition of the iRacing Top 10 that just came out a little bit earlier today, so enjoy this. Down to the bottom on a slider, 3 wide, really aggressive here from everyone, and none of them want to lift. The 07 Howard Weaver is going to pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's going to get them all done with. What amazing driving from the 07 car, who's gone from 19th up to 4th, and they're still fighting. That not 26 cars in the outside wall again.
Right there is giving room at the apex, I think, because Thompson knows that he'll get it back here. Oh, and Hobbs around the 180 corner, still side by side. Through Mike Knight they go. And then into the final corner. Nobody's giving up on this. Meanwhile, Houghton just waiting patiently to see how this is going to unfold. The momentum goes to Lake. Can he finally get it done as they stream down the front stretch? Breaking into turn 1. favor goes slightly back to Riley Thompson with that inside. The track's going to switch once again here now. Through Williams they go. Off camera, this is oh so hard to get through this corner. Nobody is giving up. Are they going to go side by side through the Moss S even? Yes, they are. Wow, and now Houghton is getting impatient. He wants to get into the fracas. Still neither of them. This is about half the track that they have been door to door. And it comes down to the backstretch again. Sean, oh my God.
Joe, the Dirty Torque guys are feeling pretty feisty today. We saw Jamie Hall battling. Now we got a little bit of Phil Lake. And look at Houghton right there, just trying to get his nose in it wherever he can. They're still side by side. Still.
Are they going to do a whole lap side by side? It's getting very close to that. It's looking like it might swing in favor of Philip Lake. That pass took him one whole lap, save for this straightaway right here. Unreal. Wow. That was some phenomenal driving. Credit to both of them for that display. Yeah, definitely. I think that's going to show up on social media.
I was about to say, SRC fans might see that again at some point, but boy, that, oof.
Welcome back here on RaceSpotTV. As just before we were about to come back here, we had a little bit of an incident on the racetrack, and Doug Lemons was involved with this one, and he went pretty much halfway around in the center of corners 1 and 2. See that lime green truck right in the middle of your screen, David, fighting with the 21 of Matt Kingsbury. A little bit of a hip check, and Doug just about able to save it, but went just around enough for the sim to trigger that caution flag. So we're under yellow for, I believe, the 7th time tonight.
Yeah, it is there, Randy. But hey, that 70 of Doug Lemons, what a save. He might have sent that into iRacing, get on that top 10 and join the likes of Howard.
There's no
Weaver.
way that was top 10 worthy. There's 0% chance that has been with top 10 worthy.
Okay.
Don't you cave me all disappointed with the truth.
But hey, still seen some awesome racing out here, but nonetheless, that was a pretty good save. It could have been a lot worse. Could have collected multiple drivers, like especially on restarts like that. It's kind of like a Daytona restart we see, where the drivers are all bunched together. But nonetheless, great save by the 70 of that Doug Lemons snap-on green machine.
Yep, as these guys continue rolling around, and take a look who's gotten himself up into P2, Davis. That 20 truck of Malik Ray starting at 32nd in a 33 truck field, and he's running on that front row for this restart within the first 100 laps of the night. So an extraordinary rebound for him.
It absolutely is, but when's the last time he's went down pit road and gotten those 4 Goodyear Eagles? As you see the 21 of Matt Kingsbury, he's got problems with that machine. He just stops on the entrance of pit road.
He's rolling again on the exit. We'll rewind the cameras. Take a look at our AMSOIL instant replay.
He's done.
As let's see, I see him. He comes off the pit road. He maybe get a penalty of some sort, crossing that yellow line, maybe tilted a little bit. We'll have to wait and see.
Maybe it was a electrical issue or a fuse. Boggs had to throw in some switches right there and get her back running as he's moving down. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Might have to get some confirmation from race control.
Yeah, not really sure. Maybe a bit of an error there. We'll have to wait and see, though. He was given an EOL penalty by race control, so he may have been just letting those trucks by.
Yeah, you're probably right on that one there, Randy.
Well, you didn't have to sound too sad about it.
But hey, it's been an awesome night of racing nonetheless. Sean Powell, the 41 machine, he's still leading this race. But the big story here tonight, and I think you can agree on this one, Randy, I know you don't agree with me on a lot of stuff, but it is that 20 of Malik Ray. He came up through the field with pretty much no damage. He does have a little bit of damage on that right side, a few scratches. Maybe he's been having some contact with some other drivers, but nonetheless, that machine still looks pretty clean. And this might be the 41 of Sean Powell's biggest challenge of the night, as that 41 is going to elect to start on that high side with the 21 on the low side. But we've really seen that high line be the choice of these drivers throughout the night.
Now, I have to ask, Davis, can we actually say the sponsor of that number 20 without getting fired by Will or Hugo?
Well, my trading paints didn't update, so I
for
can't even see
reference,
the
I will do this
sponsor.
for educational purposes. It says kick ass across the hood.
Ooh, I don't know if I'd have went there, but let's see if he can do that to the 41 of Sean Powell. Is that pace car is going to head off into pit road. He makes that exit onto turn 4, going to take that hard left turn, and the green flag is out here tonight. It's the 41 of Sean Powell gets the jump on the 20 of Malik Ray. The 27 of Scotty Ronshield has made his comeback from the back of the pack and is sitting in that second position. Look at the run the 20 of Malik Ray gets on that 27 machine. Gonna have to see if what he's able to do. Is that 41 of Sean Powell's got about 3/10 of a second lead on Malik Ray.
Field all running themselves in towards corners number 3 and 4. The Malik Ray is going to hold on to that second spot. The 04 and the 19. Sean Ryan and Mike Bruno are going to duke it out though, as we're 25 laps out from halfway here. As down this front straightaway in towards 1 and 2, they're going to go. And I mean, just talking about how long this race was going to be for these guys tonight, Davis. I mean, we're only 3/4 of the way through the first half of this race, and we're 4 minutes off the 1 hour mark. So we're looking at nearly a 2-hour 15, 2-hour 20-minute long show for these guys. We're going to see some mental fatigue, I think, for sure at the end of this thing. And what is that going to be like, considering what the start's been like?
Ooh, I hate to break it up right there. That 19 of Mike Bruno gets a little bit of bumper job on the 04 of Sean Ryan. I think that's exactly what you're going to see. Is that right there? These drivers are going to run out of patience. They're going to get tired of running behind these drivers, and they're going to start to use that chrome horn on that front bumper and say, hey, if you're not going to let me go, I'm going to get you out of the way.
Thing is, though, this early in the race, I don't think there's any real reason to necessarily be doing that. The 05 sends it down to the bottom underneath Brad Ear, and he spins up into Doyle Lawrence. Big impact through 3 and 4, and this is going to be a caution on the night for sure. So Doyle Lawrence, I believe he just hit the incident limit. That's going to be his day done. Let's try and get there we go. Here's a view of this 8 machine. We're right on board with it. So you see Doyle in that Raven Graphics truck running down this back straightaway and in towards corners number 3 and 4, drives into the middle here. You see that 05 machine start to spin around. And again, that really seems to be the sort of incidents we're seeing, is people just start to lose that truck, Davis, and then they just overcorrect trying to get it back underneath them and spin up into the outside wall.
Yeah, and you hit on this point earlier, and I think these guys, they've just got these setups so ungodly tight, and they've just taken a bunch of brake bias out to make these machine turns, and that's what we're seeing too, along with these drivers just getting that throttle too soon and breaking that traction on those rear tires. But I think that could have been a lot worse if Doyle Rance hadn't hit that incident limit. That would have taken out maybe 5, 6, 7 drivers.
And well, Davis, I'm someone who's gotten into poker somewhat recently, and you know, there's always talk about variance in poker because obviously, you know, it's pretty much random in terms of the cards that you get. So, you know, in theory, over the long term, you should always get, say, you know, dealt a certain hand an equal number of times as everyone else. Last week, we had sort of a statistical anomaly with these guys going completely green without a single caution. And tonight, I think they're just trying to make it up for it so to get at least the average evened out between the 2 races.
Yeah, you know, and I think you're right too, but then we've seen Daytona too. We've seen a lot of cautions right there, but nonetheless still a good race these drivers always put on. But yeah, you know, I think you're right on that one here, but I think it just comes down to close short track racing. It doesn't matter. These are some of the best drivers in iRacing. It doesn't matter who you put in it, who you put in these cars, who you put in these leagues. When you have these drivers this close together, there's going to be cautions and there's going to be contact.
Yep, there definitely is. As we are going to have one more lap here of caution, or actually 2 more laps, excuse me. And the interesting thing here, talking about the pit strategy, 20 Malik Ray ends up into the race lead, and I think pretty much everyone else came down pit road here, Davis. So Malik, now he's in sort of an interesting position. I think he sort of thinks that he can get to, you know, the sort of point where he can only do the race on one more pit stop, where these guys that just came down pit road, I don't think there's any way they're going 120 laps to the end from here.
Well, I don't know. We've seen a lot of cautions out here tonight. If they're able to save fuel, they could make it on fuel. But tires, I don't know. As we're going to have to get these drivers cycled around. That way I can see there's the last car with older tires. As you see Sean Powell, the 41, looks like he's going to be right behind the 70 of Doug Lemon. So the drivers in front of Sean Powell are the ones that stayed out. As I'll get a better view here as that pace car passes that start and finish line.
Yep, so down the front straightaway comes the iRacing Mustang safety car. And those lights should go out, and indeed they do. So we will double file up the field as one of the pit entry commitment cones got slaughtered and kicked onto the racing surface. Memorial service now being held in the infield for that entry commitment cone.
Absolutely a sad scenario right there, as that orange commitment cone has absolutely done a heck of a job here tonight, but it's not going to end well for him. But Sean Powell's going to be the first truck with fresher tires. With older tires in 9th place, I'm going to start backwards here. It's going to be Doug Lemons, 8th, Perry Nelson, Matt Kingsbury, Tim Marlowe, Doc Stout, Sean Mulsick, Paul Bliss, Brandon Holder, Malik Gray. All those drivers have older tires, so there's quite a bit of gap between Malik Ray and the drivers that have newer tires. So we're going to see how that pans out, how quickly that 41 of Sean Powell can get back to the front, and can he get there without getting in an incident or damaging that machine. As you see that pace car take that hard left turn onto pit road, that green flag's coming out right here. So 20 of Malik Ray leads them off. He doesn't get it good. It looks like he's jumping the start. He jumps up that outside line. He got contact behind there, and man, he really waited late to get this race started.
I've got a truck on pit road as well. I want to cycle through to see who that was. Can't see. I think it was Brad Patterson, the 42 truck. Tried to get out there, I think, to go running. Actually, no, I don't think it was. I think it was a 10 of Harold Decker. I think that's who it was. Got on the throttle, and that motor just instantly went kerbleweth, I believe is the technical term of how explosions sound. And pretty much in the end of his night right there, the first fight we have on the racetrack, the 21 and the 62. Duking it out, is a little bit loose as one of those trucks are going to be 3 wide down this front straight.
3 wide, that's the 41 right there. Sean Powell utilizing that low line. The first driver with 4 fresh tires gets a little loose on that lower line, kind of checks up the field behind him, still 3 wide behind him. That's going to cause an absolute hornet's nest behind him. So back to that point, I think that number 10 machine just wanted to join that orange cone back there on the infield care center. But wow, that 41, he is being aggressive. He's being aggressive early, but that's what you got to do. You've seen it before with these drivers. If you just stay around with those fresher tires and you're battling drivers, then you're absolutely not being able to utilize this fresh tires. And there's contact right there. He's spinning out right in front of Brad Neer.
Oh, and a little bit of another secondary contact with Brent Keith. AMSOIL replay coming up on your screens now, as that all started going into turn 1, and I think it's the same thing. Brake bias likely dialed a little bit too much rearward, and that 6 truck, once he started to go around, almost no way you can reel that back in.
I think he actually had a little help there.
Oh, you're right.
For Sean Ryan.
Yeah, definitely had a shot from the 04 of Sean Ryan. Sean has sort of sent him around there. The 32 of Brent Keith, not much he could really do. Let's ride on board if we can with that 04 truck of Sean Ryan, see what it looked like from his angle. So you see in toward, this is driving through 3 and 4. Gets a good run off the corner and then down the front straightaway, and you see that 6 truck right out in front of him. It says BMW on the rear tailgate, but it might as well be a target. It might as well be a bullseye, and Sean Ryan center punches it, sends that 6 machine right around.
At 9 of Brad Neer, how many more accidents can he go through before he hits that incident limit or before he just absolutely damages that machine, but still been able to do a good job. He's got a little bit of tiny bit of damage on that front end, but it looks like the most of the damage is going to be on that rear spoiler, but that's not going to affect him too bad. As aerodynamics, they still play a tiny key here, a tiny factor in this race, but they're not going to play a huge factor like we'd see them at 1.5 miles. Yep,
definitely the case. Not super important here at New Hampshire, but still, you don't want to get damage to that aero regardless. We're going to step away once again here on RaceSpotTV, so do not go away. We will be back once we go back to Green Flag Racing.
Team racing allows multiple iRacing members to team up and race together, just like in real-world endurance series. Teammates can share driving duties, spot for one another, or be a crew chief. Team racing is free, both to join a team and to create one. Each teammate races on his or her own computer from wherever they want to. Your teammates can be anywhere in the world, and changing drivers mid-race is as easy as a click of a button. iRacing features team endurance events ranging from just a couple of hours to 24 hours in length. So, if you fancy taking part in an iRacing endurance race in the future, you can learn more about team racing on the teams page on the member website.
And welcome back. And we've got green flag out already as that 20 of Malik Ray is going to lead the field down into turn number 2. The 5 of Brandon Holder is going to have a little bit of company behind him. That's going to be the 85 of Paul Bliss, followed by the 14 of Sean Mulsack. Look at the 21 of Matt Kingsbury getting a little impatient there, right on the high side of the 28 of Tim Marlowe.
Yep, so fight's already happening here. And of course, some of these drivers are on slightly different tire strategies as these guys are going to be running through the field. Sean Mulsick and Matt Kingsbury turning into a bit of a scrap as the 41 of Sean Powell, who dominated the early stages of this, continue working their way forward.
And in case you were wondering where Justin Prince is, just got a message saying he left the ballpark, was wondering if everything was okay. But hey, we're keeping the fort down here tonight as we've got some awesome racing. Still focusing on that 27 of Scotty Ryan show, getting below that 28 of Tim Marlowe. Ooh, he gets into it, he makes contact, he's in the 28, almost in the outside walls. That could have been a top 10 replay.
Didn't see that on the broadcast, so we'll get a quick little replay here. The 28, Tim Marlowe, involved with some drama. Definitely a driver who doesn't have any issues here getting involved with that stuff. Let's see, going in towards 3 and 4, bit of contact with the 27 and 28. You see just a quick little hip check, and the 28 truck shoved up the racetrack. Should be no harm, no foul there overall.
Yeah, I think they call that a check shot or in hockey.
Hip check, I think. Yeah, checking.
Yeah, checking. So that'd have been a penalty, a 5-minute penalty in the box. But hey, this is racing, and this is New Hampshire, and this is how these boys do it down here. I'm gonna focus again. Look on that 21.
New Hampshire's not down anywhere. It's up north of the 15.
That's the stick.
Sean Mulsick gets checked and sent to the penalty box. As we're going to get a replay of that, as I'm going to give Davis a bit of an education on geography, as New Hampshire is not down anywhere unless you're from the North Pole. And let's see, through corners number 1 and 2. He just did it all on his own, just picked that throttle up too quickly. He gobbered when he should have goobered.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think that's just the factor of these trucks just being so ungodly tight that they're trying to get to that throttle as quick as possible and just breaking that traction on those rear wheels and just spinning them around on exit. We've seen that time after time on the exits and the entries. But right there, that just cost the 15 of Sean Mulsick, because he's going to be back in the back of the field trying to see if he can make that up. But hey, we see multiple drivers starting that back and make their way back up through the field, including the 20 of Malik Gray, starting in the 32nd position. And man, could he be putting on another clinic like we seen last week?
It seems to be that way, Davis, as these guys are going to have another yellow, and here comes some more split strategies. Actually, nope. People are just playing some games. The 20 to Marlowe who wants to come down pit road, but a lot of people trying to do some juke in there and run over and kill that commitment cone.
Man, that's absolutely horrible. As we've seen the entry commitment cone's brother, the exit commitment cone, as he had an unfortunate set of circumstances. It was set to the infield care center, but they look like they brought his replacement out, the green commitment cone. So we're going to have to see how he fares in this battle here at Espeed Contender Series at New Hampshire, presented by RaceSpotTV.
Hey, you want an interesting statistic here, Davis, that I've gotten from Race Control?
Yeah, let me listen.
This may have came from a little bit of frustration. So there's been 11 cautions on the night. Only 10 drivers have been involved in those.
Wow, so could it be the same 10 drivers is what you're saying?
Not their fault, though, surely. Can't possibly be.
No, but, you know, I think, again, I mean, I've said this multiple times, and I think we're going to continue repeating it. It's just these guys have got these setups so ungodly tight, and they're taking a bunch of brake bias out to make it turn, and that's what's causing these wrecks.
Yeah, definitely can. Definitely seems to be that way. These guys will continue to log through, and the lights stay on. Thought they might go out there, but I was incorrect. And just talking about how long of a race this is going to be, Davis. Last night for the peak race, that was a 150 lap race and was done and over with in about an hour and a half. We're an hour and 11 minutes into this, and we still have over half the race to go.
Hey, I could not imagine any other way to spend my birthday here than with you fans and with Randy and with a bunch of great set of drivers here at the Espeed Contender Series at New Hampshire, presented by RaceSpotTV. It's just been an awesome night here, seen some great racing. Yeah, we've had a lot of cautions here tonight, but hey, it happens, and get geared up for this finish. Yeah, we're not at halfway yet, but it's going to come here before we know it, and we're going to see a great finish. You can bet on that one, Randy, and I know you like your poker, so let's do some betting.
Yeah, we will. One thing I do not want to gamble on is whether or not it is Davis's birthday. So, as I bring up the wrong graphic because I am just the best producer that has ever lived. It's happy birthday to Davis. I would sing the happy birthday song, but I do not want to get sued. So, yeah. There you go. Graphics gone. That's your happy birthday song for the broadcast, Davis.
Well, I'm gonna have to wait for this graphic to come up on the YouTube page because someone didn't start the production feed.
Hey, you deal with Cox Cable.
Still waiting here.
I think you might have missed it, actually.
Did I miss it that easy?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you missed it. You missed it. It went away when they're going into turn 1, fam. It's already done and over with. It's only about 6 or 7 seconds back, so you need to get good as the field heads off towards 3 and 4 for the restart.
Yeah, you call this race back to green. I'm going to keep looking for that graphic.
So they're going to go back to green flag racing here. As the 5 truck not getting a great restart, the 85 had to lift out of it. Actually, no, he ended up timing it very well. He just came later than he would have expected. So Malik Ray leads the field off towards 1 and 2, but he has a competitor and Brandon Holder fighting down there on the bottom.
Yeah, he absolutely does. And I've seen that. It was kind of hard to get. Is it up top underneath the scoring there? And thank you for that, Randy. I really appreciate that. That's probably the best gift I've gotten all day. But hey, we've got some battles on this track, and I'll tell you another great gift would be to see an awesome race like we're seeing tonight. Just watch that 41 of Sean Powell just absolutely wheeling and dealing these machines. Gets past the 70 of Doug Lemons. Now he sets his sights on the 85 of Paul Bliss, and he has got an absolute rocket in that 41 machine tonight.
He definitely does. Quickest in qualifying, one of the quickest in practice, and he was dominating this race for a while. Pit strategy shelved him down the field as we approach halfway. He's starting to get up near the front nearly as quickly as I took away Davis's mod in the YouTube chat.
What?
Just type a message and see it. Tell me if that blue wrench turns up.
Well, I don't know what to say about that right there. I'm absolutely disappointed, but nonetheless, hey, I'm really excited for this great race we've got going on tonight. As you see these drivers, they got a really single file. You got to go back. I'm trying to look. It's going to be behind the number 9 of Brad Neer. It's going to be the likes of the 04 of Sean Ryan and the 4 of Tommy Lockwood Jr. Look at that 9 getting loose, breaking the traction right there with that, taking a lot of brake bias out of that machine and saves it, but he's going to lose multiple spots.
Get a replay of that up on our screens thanks to Amsoil. As you see him heading down in towards 3 and 4, a little bit loose there from the 9 just on turn entry. That's what we're talking about here with the brake bias, and he did a good job to keep that thing out of the wall.
He really did. That's an absolute awesome piece of driving right there, and that might have made the top 10 highlight reel.
Yep, these guys head off down the front straightaway, and we begin lap number 100 of 200 as these guys get ready to go through 1 and 2 and then head through 3 and 4, Davis. They're going to see when they get to the starters stand the cross flags, and they're going to be like, oh, is that 5 to go? And the spotter's going to be like, lol, no.
But hey, big story here is a 20 of Malik Ray, but look at that 41 of Sean Powell. He's making his way up to the 5th position. He's going to set his sights on the 27 of Scotty Rhinestone. Now, he went and pitted about 20 laps ago. We've had a few cautions since then, but I think you can pretty much factor in that pitting is not worth it. But can he go the rest of the distance on the same tank of fuel? Because I think I'd rather have 30, 40 lap, maybe even older tires with the race this has been going than have newer tires.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's one of the things we've been talking about. I mean, we've been, 11 yellows on the night. I mean, you're averaging a caution just under every 10 laps. No real reason to really stress about coming down on towards pit road and really getting fresh tires if you're only spending a few laps using them, and if those guys out in front can just chill just with all the cautions they've had.
Yeah, you're right. And then that 20 of Malik Ray, he's got company with that 5 of Brandon Holder, so those older tires are really starting to take an effect on him. And hey, we're going to get us a long green flag run here for this night's over. These drivers, they keep damaging their machines, keep hitting that incident limit, especially with it being like the same top 10 drivers. They're eventually going to get either A, hit that incident limit and have to park her behind the wall, or B, just get too much damage on that machine, and we're going to get us a green flag run. This might be the start of it. Just watch that 5 of Brandon Holder. He's riding right behind the 20 of Malik Ray, watching his line, running about a quarter of a lane up higher than Malik Ray is. He's setting his sights, trying to make his move. It's just going to be a matter of when does he take it, or does he just ride back and save those tires?
That is going to be the big question as we're now inside of 97 laps to go. It's a good run coming off the corner, does that number 5 truck. And the one thing about this place here, Davis, though, is that when you actually start running green flag laps, the laps actually tick off pretty quick. It doesn't take a long time to really run a lot of those laps. We talked about the fact earlier that the lap times are sort of comparable to what you typically see on a 1.5-mile track. And actually the 5 of Brandon Holder going to look up the inside of the 20 of Malik Ray. And that orange and black truck, I believe, is going to be down a spot here after that one. Maybe not. It has the momentum coming off the corner. 5 tries to squeeze him up against the wall, and it works a little bit, but Malik has not given up yet.
He's not right here, and yeah, that 5 of Brandon Holder just clears that position. But look at that 20 of Malik Ray doing the crossover move. He's not going to be able to get to him, and now he's just going to sit here behind the 5 of Brandon Holder and see if that Brandon Holder machine, if he checks out on the field or if he's just going to save some of those tires. I really think we're starting to see that green flag run like we were talking about. But look at that 41 of Sean Powell. He's going to make that pass on the 21 of Matt Kingsbury. You've seen Matt Kingsbury have a pretty loose race truck, unlike some of these other drivers here tonight. He's had a hard time keeping that thing under control. He's been at the back of the pack, had a EOL penalty on the night, but he's made his way back up into the top 5. But look at that 41 of Sean Powell. He puts the distance on the 21 of Kingsbury. Now he's going to set his sights on the 20 of Malik Ray. Remember, Sean Powell has about 20 or 30 or so fresher tires than that 20 of Malik Ray, and I think this is when Malik Ray is going to be wishing he had came in with him and took those tires.
Maybe a little bit, but at the same time, you can do about 75 laps on a tank of fuel, Davis. But with all the cautions we've had, I don't actually think that Malik has ever been down pit road. I'll check that here in just a second just to see and confirm that stat right now. As we take a look, no, he's been down pit road. I'm not sure when the last time he actually came down was. But if you can get to lap 125 here, you're good to go to the end.
Yeah, you are. You're right. So, I mean, hey, this thing could go green for the rest of the race. Then we're really going to have a fight on our hands, and a bunch of different strategies going to come into play. And you see him lap a few drivers right there. Look at that 41 to Sean Powell. Look at that distance he was able to make up. He was all the way with that 21 of Kingsbury. He's made up a lot of times. He just ran a 30.27. Brandon Holder ran a 30.2, so about 0.2 faster.
Yep, so a little bit of pace differential as Davis starts coughing up here on the broadcast. We'll let you know if he drops dead on me. That will not be advisable. You see a couple different lines starting to get run. We also saw this in the peak race last night. Very racy racetrack here at Homestead once the tires start to get old. Homestead, New Hampshire, when the tires start to get old. You see some drivers start to move up the racetrack up to that sort of 3rd or 4th groove, while others begin actually doing the opposite and keeping that truck tighter down to the bottom.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As I was able to catch my breath and I was able to survive to watch the finish of this awesome race here tonight. And look at that 41. He's gonna try to use that high line. There's no PJ1 or traction on these tracks here in Iris. That 20 of Malik Ray almost gets in the wall.
Yep, and that wouldn't be good for things, but he managed to keep it off the wall. And he's still trying to keep tabs with that 5 truck of Brandon Holder. The 41 of Sean Powell, despite the new tires, Davis has not really been able to close up a whole lot. He's there and he's close, but he's not been able to think about making a move. Now he's going to do it in towards turn 1, gets down alongside, has about a fender alongside the 20 truck on the entry, pulls up a little bit more through the exit of the corner, but on the full exit, 20 truck's going to have the advantage down the back straight. Actually, no, I think Malik might be lifting it out and giving it to him.
Yeah, I think he gave it to him right there. As you don't see Tony and Malik Ray do that for many people, but I think that was a factor in. He knew the 41 of Sean Powell was a lot faster than him. He had fresher tires. That's just the point. Hey, I'm going to salvage what I can right here. Try to stay in that 3rd position. Hope a caution comes out here for the next 20 or 30 laps.
So Davis is still doing his best to cough himself up here on the broadcast as things are starting to spread out here up and down the field. Not really a lot of close fights throughout the entire field here, Davis. I think everyone really is probably gotten a little bit bored with all these caution laps that are being run and just want to get a long green flag run, because as I cycle through the field, I don't see a single side-by-side moment from your leader all the way back to the last lead lap car on the track, who is 22nd, who's Kerry Allen Stewart.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I don't see it either. But at 41 of Sean Powell's not able to make that distance on the 5 of Brandon Holder. Brandon Holder has actually extended that lead right there, as Sean Powell ran a 30.312. Brandon Holder ran a 30.274. So could this be a factor of the 41 of Sean Powell just using what he's got too soon?
Could be just a little bit, but you know, you still don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, because with 80 some odd laps to go, it could also be the 5 of Brandon Holder is really using his stuff up out there in front.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, and I love that analogy. I'm going to have to use that at work tomorrow at the water cooler.
You have a water cooler at your job?
No, they actually took the water cooler out, so they gave us these water bottles, and they're about, I know
you live in Texas. Was hydration too socialist?
Well, it is 112 degrees out here, so. But either way, talk about this racing. Finally got us a long green flag run, per se. I don't want to do the broadcaster's curse, because we know how that goes. The fans and the viewers will start coming after you with pitchforks. So that 20 of Malik Gray gets loose again. He's just got a very loose racetrack, especially on the exit. I think it's just a factor of him trying to use what he's got too soon and getting on that throttle way too quick.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. These guys, you know, the thing is, Davis, is that the fact that there hasn't been a long green flag run, the track just sort of come in awkwardly, and on top of that, people haven't been able to really figure out the way the track is running, because they've only been able to go 5-6 laps and then stop, and then 5-6 laps and then stop, and then 5. So no one's done a long run just yet really on these tires. So I think, you know, it's one of those things where it could go either way. We could be in for a long green flag run here as the field has gotten themselves spread out, but at the same time, we're also kind of reaching unknown territory for a lot of these guys as we get 20 so laps into this run.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be interesting to see what these drivers do. I'm watching that 5 of Brandon Holder. He's using multiple different lines. He's using a different line in 1 and 2, and he's using a different line in 3 and 4. So I think that's exactly what you said. He's trying to search to see what he can find. He doesn't know what's the best line. See him kind of dime in the corner right there. But yeah, you're right. He just doesn't know which line's the fastest, and he's searching for it. He's searching for that grip. He's searching for the fastest speed, when to pick up that throttle, and when to get on those brakes.
Yep, and he's doing his best out there, out in front. And you know what? I think it'd be a good idea to take a little bit of a break for us in the booth and actually see this. We're not going to go to commercial, but enjoy a few laps of RaceSpotTV fan immersion on board with the 5 truck of Brandon Holder. Watch him put on a complete clinic out in front of the field. Well, welcome back here to RaceSpotTV, as that was a few laps on board with your race leader of Brandon Holder, who now has a 1.1 second lead over that second place runner of Sean Powell. And a couple close moments for that number 5 truck over that little onboard segment, Davis, and get a good idea of how he's usually really using this racetrack to be able to stretch that gap. As coming through corners number 3 and 4, and it seems that Texas A&M strikes again when it comes to Davis as he heads down the front straightaway. Davis, we got you?
Hey, we're absolutely good right here. Sorry about that, guys. Just had to catch a quick little break there, catch my breath after this awesome race and getting a little bit of choked up. But hey, man, that 41 of Sean Powell has not been able to make the distance on the 5 of Brandon Holder, as he's keeping it about 1.1 second. I think this is a factor in right here. We've seen this long green flag run for the 41 of Sean Powell's nose. Hey, this thing can go green for the rest of the way. I think he might be saving his equipment.
It is definitely, as these guys continue rolling their way around. 5 truck of Brandon Holder doing his best to keep that gap open, and those trucks that are running 3rd and 4th really have fallen off the pace here, Davis. And when I think about these guys, Malik Ray, who's shuffled back into 3rd, Matt Kingsbury, who's up into 4th, Scotty Ronchild in 5th. These guys who are people I think that need to consider coming down and doing a slightly earlier pit stop to get that undercut strategy going and get some new tires on the car as early as they can.
And remember, the Malik Ray has got about 30 or so laps, older tires, in the 41 of Sean Powell and the 5 of Brandon Holder, but he's still able to stay up there in that 3rd position. But yeah, I think you're right. He's got to be thinking here, when am I going to make my pit stop? But with this being such a short track style type of racetrack, man, there could be a caution here at any moment.
Yep, definitely seems to be, as these guys come off turn 4 once again and down the front straightaway. It's still looking up and down the field, not a lot of close scraps. You have the 88 here who's running close to the 28 to Tim Marlowe. Tim Marlowe, even when he's this far down the field, Davis, is always a driver to watch. One of the most aggressive guys in the field, involved with a couple of the cautions this far tonight as he rides off in towards 1 and 2. So this could be a battle that ends up heating up.
Yeah, it could, and that right there for that 14th position. Gonna have to see what he's able to do with that machine. That 88 of Gregory Thompson's got about a 3 truck length advantage on the 28 of Tim Marlowe as you're watching him come into turn 3 and 4. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the most exciting battle we've got on this track, as I'm looking through the field like you've stated in the past, and man, just really don't see nothing. But I'll look back here at that 18th position of the 56 of Kerry Allen Stewart, not having the race he's wanted to have, has damage on that vehicle. He came out in his first race. It's only his 3rd race with the league. In his first race, he won at Daytona. His 2nd race last week, he came out, had a good, solid race at the top 10. And now, man, he is just not having the race he wants to have.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things, especially as we get closer and closer to the end of this this championship contention, as we're actually going to take a quick look at the points here. We didn't really have time to. Actually, no, we're not, because our overlay is going to break, so shout outs to Hugo Louis for that one. But as things get tightened up for this championship, that's the last thing you want to be having happen, Davis, is having mistakes and issues and running inconsistently.
Yeah, you're right, but that 56 of Kerry Allen Stewart, remember, he's one of those developmental drivers. So those developmental drivers, their points do not count. So basically, he's just driving there for some experience to have the opportunity to run for points. Is right now we're going to see green flag pit stops go underway. As that 05 of Marshall Berry is the first one that takes that left turn onto pit road to get 4 fresh tires and a tank of fuel. And if this thing goes green, this is going to be the last pit stop of the night.
There was one truck I saw on pit road earlier, and it may have been the 21 of Matt Kingsbury as he rolls off of pit road. So pit stop sequence officially started for those race leaders. Let's see if Kingsbury can get off pit road clean. First green flag pit stop of the night. That looks pretty good for him. Let's see, what kind of drop off we're looking at here is Brandon Holder. He's currently running off of turn number 4 on lap 135. And for Kingsbury, he's on lap 134. So you lose about a lap and some change here with the strategy here, Davis. So this is the risk for these guys. The 20 of Malik Ray's down on pit road as well.
You knew the 20 Malik Ray was going to come in pretty quick. He stopped short in that box right there. Going to get 4 fresh Goodyear's full tank of Sunoco fuel. Wants to have a pretty much flawless stop right here. Get his service done as quick as possible and get back onto the track. You know, he wanted this pit stop here as he was definitely hurting for some tires, but was still able to utilize them too. That 5 of Brandon Holder and the 41 of Sean Power still staying out on the field.
Yep, so different strategies coming through here as more and more trucks are sliding down the pit road. Not too many of your race leaders, though. But it's still that Brandon Holder truck out in front who continues to roll away from the field. And the thing is here, Davis, is that what do you do if you're the 5? When you have the situation where trucks behind are coming down pit road and doing the short stint strategy, you're really given one of 2 options. You either have to come down pit road quickly to respond, or you have to stay out for 30, 40 some odd laps to sort of undo that undercut advantage when you eventually come down pit road. So what would you prefer to see from the 5 truck? Would you rather see him stay out there on these old tires for a long period of time, or come down in these next couple laps to try to keep the undercut at bay?
Well, that 41 of Sean Powell is elected to go down pit road right now as he stops in that last pit box. And man, you've made your bets and now you got to lie in it. You're pretty much, there's only, I'd say, about 10 other drivers that have elected to stay out. The rest have been down pit road.
And none of them are leaders.
Yeah, exactly. But the 5 of Brandon Holder, you pretty much made your bets to lie in it. He's got to stay out here for at least the next 15, 20 laps, I'd say. If you were going to make it, you got to make your strategy earlier in the race. You got to have a mindset of, hey, if this race goes this far, if this race goes this far, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to short pit here. You got to know what your setup can do, because this is an open setup race, and I say that he completely throws all of that out the window as he's coming down pit road.
Yeah, I don't like this at all from this 5 machine. I think he waited too long. I think he needed to respond a lot quicker than he ended up doing if he wanted to be on the coming down pit road side of things. And let's see where Matt Kingsbury is. He's currently lapping 139. He's on the same lap as that 5 truck of Brandon Holder, as in towards 3 and 4 he will go. And let's see where that 5 truck is. Just now in the box, getting ready to pull away. And the 21 truck is the one I'm really using as a bit of a metric here. As the left sides go up, 5 truck should be released. And Matt Kingsbury, he's already clear and rolling through 1 and 2.
Look how much time he loses. It's going to absolutely hurt him and kill him. Because, there's quite a bit of difference between a lap or so of older tires, but it's not like you'd see, per se, in other races and other racetracks here. He's going to lose multiple times. He's going to be sitting in, I don't know, I'd probably say the 5th or 6th position as he's behind the 41 of Sean Powell.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You look at Sean Powell. Sean Powell pit on lap number 137. That was his in lap. Compare that to Brandon Holder. His in lap was 139. There's not much in it in a 2-lap difference of tires when you're talking about that slightly newer and that slightly older. The big advantage is when you have 10, 15 laps on it. So it's going to be a big issue, I think, out in front here. And you talk about Matt Kingsbury as well. He came down pit road, I think, slightly earlier. He pit on lap 133. So there's only 4 or 5 laps there as well. So I honestly think we may have just seen a situation that 5 truck of Brandon Holder may have just thrown this race away.
I think you're right, Randy. Now, he might all prove us wrong here as he gets below that 19 of Mike Bruno. But you're right. Look how far back he is to those drivers, and it's absolutely tough to make up those positions, especially once these tires, as he pretty much cuts off the 19 of Bruno. Mike T. Bruno, he is not going to like that, and he actually the 19 almost spins it out, trying to get back to the side door of the 5 of Brandon Holder.
Yeah, so a little bit of an issue. Now, the one ace the 5 will have is that for the first lap or 2, and this is kind of true across the sim in general, regardless if it's road course stuff or not, the tires will have their peak grip for the first about 2 laps as you're out there. So he'll have a few laps where he really reins in a lot of time. Looking at the lap times, the 29.8 last time. Well, for Powell, it was a 29.5. He does a 6. And then Brandon Holder goes to a 5. So he is a little bit quicker, but not that huge amount. And especially you're talking about that race lead that is currently held unofficially, but whenever everyone eventually cycles down pit road, it'll be the 21 truck that has the race lead, who's roughly 3 seconds out in front. I don't think he's running lap times quick enough to be able to reel in a 3-second lead.
he's not, and his tires are just getting worse and worse with each passing lap, and they're just getting to be more even with that 41 of Sean Powell and the 21 of Matt Kingsbury. So I don't like the call right there. You've either got to make the move right when these drivers make it, or you got to make it maybe a lap earlier. I just really like the move that the 21 of Matt Kingsbury did by short pitting.
Yeah, same thing here. I love that one. It would have made a lot more sense if the 5 truck would have just responded when that 21 car pit and come down pit road right then and there. But maybe the 5 truck, maybe he knows something about his tires and his truck that we don't, as he's going to continue cycling through. The current truck that is technically leading the race, by the way, is that 28 of Tim Marlowe. And actually, has he actually come down pit road relatively recently, or what's the deal here? No, he has not. So Tim Marlowe is technically leading, and Doc Stout, who I believe we've seen getting some incidents here as well, he's still out on the racetrack. And then after that, it's pretty much all your regular race trucks. You see that 21 of Kingsbury just blow the doors off of Doc Stout. That's what new tires can do for you.
Yeah, I think that 28 of Tim Marlowe, he's just hoping for a caution right here, and that would really help him out. Especially, we've been about 10 or 15 or so laps here with these drivers behind them pitting. That would pretty much force them to go down pit road, I would think. But hey, we've seen crazier strategies. Look at that 41 of Sean Powell blocked behind the 62 and the 27.
Yep, definitely seems like it as these guys continue fighting up and down the field. The 41 and the 27 going to be a fight, but I don't think it will be for long. As you see that 41 truck, huge head of steam down the front stretch and in towards 3 and 4. Look at the way he just drive that truck in on the new set of tires. So the 27 of Scotty Reinshield doing everything he can, trying to make up for some mistakes early on here, Davis, but just doesn't have the grip of those old tires in that truck.
He doesn't. That 21 of Matt Kingsbury is going to be really close. He's gaining in on that 28 of Tim Marlowe. Tim Marlowe just wants a caution. He wants it now. He said, hey, I've took my chance here. I'm making my bed. Now I'm lying with it. So he's got quite a bit of damage on that machine. But that 21 of Matt Kingsbury, he's going to be in his bumper here in about the next lap or so.
Yep, that's going to be the big thing, as the 21 truck is going to be ready to fend off that 41 machine, I think, for sure. But Kingsbury's tires have started to go away. There's a 30.3 for him last time. Compare that to the 41, who did a 30.0. So a huge pace advantage for Sean Powell. Kingsbury struggling a little bit, and this should not be a surprise considering the fact that Sean was the quickest truck on the racetrack for a while. They both take the race lead, first and second, and that's the 20 of Tim Marlowe on the really, really old tires. And the 5 of Brandon Holder, I don't know what he's doing, but he's been able to reel them in, because that gap just suddenly went from about 4 seconds to Matt Kingsbury. It's down to 1.2.
It is. Look at him right there in that number 5 machine. He's able to make up those positions, able to get past the 27 of Scotty Reinshield and the 28 of Tim Marlowe. Hey, he's got something left in the tank. He might be proving us wrong.
Maybe. That's the it's going to be interesting to see if that's the case for this number 5 truck. See how much maybe lap traffic played a part in that, because now the 21 and the 41 have clean racetrack. So if the 5 car can reel them in, it just means that me and Davis don't know what we're talking about, and that should not make anyone surprised, considering I am DeVry educated and Davis is Texas A&M educated. So likely not much going there as they run down the front straightaways inside the final quarter of this race.
Watch it.
I am watching it. There's 50 laps to go.
Yeah, but hey, look here. We're about to have a battle for that lead. That 41 of Sean Powell's right on the back bumper of the 21 of Matt Kingsbury. That's going to help the 5 of Brandon Holder out, and he's going to be able to reel in those 2 drivers as they're coming into turn 3 and 4. The 41 almost as he comes to a stall there, gets on the low side on the quarter panel of the 21 of Matt Kingsbury. He's going to be able to make the move. He's going to try again, coming in here to 1 and 2. Can he make it? That 21 of Kingsbury is using that bottom line, and look at the run. The 41 gets through the middle of the quarter, but that 21 is just able to get that exit momentum.
Very close fight. Top 3 all under a blanket here. Most exciting moment of the night thus far as they head in towards 3 and 4. The fight is now on for second a little bit as Brandon Holder is pulled alongside the 41 of Sean Powell. I think it may have heard a little bit of contact a little deeper in the field, but we stay green, so no focus there as the 5 truck is trying to make the pass for second when he's got the race leader out in front of him. Now he looks up top, might try to slot that truck along the outside of Matt Kingsbury and make it 3 wide. Will not be able to do so. So we'll stay 2 by 1 for the race lead down the back and in towards 3 and 4. A little bit of contact between P2 and 3.
He's absolutely trying. The 5 of Braden Holder knows he needs to get past these drivers. He does not want to caution to come right now. That's going to completely kill his strategy, and it's going to be very tough to get around these drivers if they both have fresher tires, but these drivers are on different strategies. 21 of Matt Kingsbury still leading this race. Comes down into 1 and 2. That 41 of Sean Powell's now going to have to deal with the 5. Kind of uses the 21 of Kingsbury as a pick, but still able to not to get that run. I think the fastest line around this racetrack is that high line. The 21 of Kingsbury almost gets into the wall. That 41 is still giving him a lot of trouble there on that low line.
Still down there on the bottom of the 41 of Sean Powell doing a good job. Remember that Kingsbury came down pit road first and has the slightly older tires. Down the front straight, they will scream for the 155th into 156th time. And the 41 of Sean Powell almost contacts that 21 truck. And I like what the 5 truck has done here, David, is he's dropped off just a little bit. And I like this. These guys are going to run wheel to wheel. Let them burn their stuff up. Just sit there and lurk.
Yeah, I was about to jump on that same exact point, and you're right, Randy. That 5, he knows what he's doing. He's letting these drivers use up their stuff. Just look at these drivers still side by side, door by door. They've been, and there's contact, and the 5 of Braden Holder gets into him. That's going to hit his front end. That's going to give him some front end damage. How bad will that affect him?
We're going to watch and see that on board with that 5 truck of Brandon Holder on the AMSOIL replay. This was coming off of turn 4. Look for the bit of a hip check between the 41 and the 21. What actually started it? They were just going for the same bit of real estate pretty much. You see him get into the outside wall, and Brandon Holder drills the back of that 21 machine of Kingsbury. So now as these guys continue to roll out there, now the big question has to be, what is the damage like? As Kingsbury has lost the second spot, does the 41 have anything on it? And the 5 truck, with that crumpled front bumper, Davis, there's 2 things that I think of when you get damage there. Front aero and cooling.
You're right, and engine speed as well. Those are both going to affect the engine performance of that machine, but... And was that just hard racing, or was that by design by the 41 of Sean Powell?
I think that was just hard running there. I don't think that was really by design. I think that was just both trucks who've been fighting wheel to wheel, kind of going for the same bit of real estate, because it wasn't a super hard hit. It was just enough to get that 21 truck kind of sent up the racetrack and into the wall.
But it absolutely destroyed that rear spoiler of that 21 and that front end of the 5. So look at the lap times here. The 5 ran a 30.423. Sean Powell ran a 30.390. Did he save enough tire? Did he save enough grip on that machine to have a fight here with the 41 of Sean Powell to make up for that damage? Or is Sean Powell just going to absolutely run off with it? As Brandon just ran a 30.266, and then Sean Powell ran a 30.4, so almost 2/10 faster that 5 machine was as they're going around the number 48 machine and getting past this lap traffic.
Yep, these guys continue working their way through. It seems like the 5 of Brandon Holder has not lost a lot of speed after that bit of contact with someone who has is Matt Kingsbury. Those lap times have really fallen off since he hit that wall, Davis. I think likely a little bit of suspension damage on the front there for Matt Kingsbury, as he's lost about 0.4 of a second in that truck.
And I think he was
someone
holding
just
those
popped the
drivers.
motor. I think it was the 5 truck of Brandon Holder just popped the motor going in towards 1 and 2. This is what we were talking about after getting that contact. And Brandon Holder, the dominant truck all evening, after that issue with Matt Kingsbury, rolls through the center in 1 and 2, and the motor simply lets go. We'll bring up the speedo telemetry, and you see it right there, down basically to idle, pretty much just as the car rolls. And Brandon Holder and America Motorsports is done for tonight. Inside of 50 to go.
Wow, and we have a caution out too. I'm not sure if it was from oil dripping down on the racetrack, or if there was damage, or if there was another wreck right there, but absolutely heartbreaker for that 5 machine. He was reeling in that 41 of Sean Powell. I did not expect that engine to blow like that, but it, like you've seen it right there, it popped, and wow, that ends his night. Absolutely heartbreaker for Brandon Holder, and he is not going to be happy about that.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that one. And, talk about, what's going to happen in this race now, because the 3 quickest trucks we had on track were the 41, the 5, and the 21. And a little bit of contact gives the 21 machine what seems like 0.3 of a second or so damage. And the 5 truck gets just enough to end up blowing that engine. So, now what's it going to be for these guys as they continue to roll out? I will also say, though, Davis, that as experienced as this group is, I'm really surprised that Holder didn't catch the rising temperatures before that pop, because that seemed to happen really, really quickly. The guys, in these sorts of racing trucks will be used to actually maintaining and keep an eye on the temps just from when they do super speedway racing. You know, it seems to me like it would have been a good idea to at least just sort of back off and try to keep that motor running for longer, and just pray for a caution so you can come down pit road essentially for free and take some tape off the front grille.
Yeah, you're right. And you think he would have seen those temperatures rising, and he would have been able to at least come down pit road on a green flag cycle, tape some tape off that machine. He'd have lost about a lap, maybe hope for a caution and get that free pass. But man, I don't know. I mean, at least save some points out of the day, but maybe he was hoping to get ahead of the leader of Sean Powell. He knew he had a faster truck, get a good enough truck length advantage on him, and then just ride it out from there and hope for a caution. But you know what that caution was brought out by? Was it because of the number 5 machine, or was there another spin?
It was because he stopped. It was when he actually stopped, or he was going so slow he triggered an automatic caution. It was not thrown by race control. But we are going to take a short break here on RaceSpotTV to bring you the final 30-some-odd lap stint to go here. This should be exciting. A lot of strategies just essentially got erased. Everyone's going to pretty much be on the same fuel, the same tires. Do not go away. We will be back in just a couple of moments for the GBR Express Flat Track 200.
So hey, this is the new iRacing scanner, right?
Yep, this is our new scanner.
Wow. And this scans all your tracks.
And we're back under green flag action here tonight. That 41 of Sean Powell's going to lead the field down, gets a heck of a jump on that 21 of Matt Kingsbury. Look at that 19 of Mike T. Bruno gaining in that second position. The 21 of Kingsbury did not get any of that damage, that fix. He just got 4 fresh tires, and he's sending it on that way. The 27 of Scotty Ryanshaw's going to look at the low line, try to get past the 21, but watch out for that 19 of Mike T. Bruno. He's absolutely coming out of nowhere. Can he take down the 41 of Sean Powell? I think the 41 of Sean Powell, he's going to be the biggest threat to this race. We've seen him lead some laps out there and have a fast race truck, but that 20 of Malik Ray is marred back in traffic. That's another contender. That 21 of Kingsbury and 27 of Ryanshaw's absolutely battling back and forth. The 20 of Malik Ray wants it back to 21, uses the chrome horn bumper, actually gives the 27 a bit of a bump draft there. That hurts him more than it helps him as the 20 of Malik Ray clears the 27.
So good-hearted racing happening already as that jackass beef jerky truck gets in front of the 21. I take that back. Kick-ass beef jerky truck. I don't know why I said that. We'll just ignore the fact that happened as they run down the front straight and in towards 1 and 2. You know what, Davis? We're on the RaceSpot channel, not the iRacing one. That's it's like being on XM radio as these guys work down the back straight, and you see the 21 of Kingsbury start to slowly flow backwards, dealing now with the 04 truck of Sean Ryan. And that 21 truck is definitely sitting there thinking, man, what a night this could have been, and it's all gone down the tubes.
It absolutely has. He's going to lose position after position in that machine. Hopefully he took some tape off of it, but he didn't get hit in that front. He got hit in the rear end, but that damage definitely affected him. He's got some suspension damage on that machine. As I'm looking right now, the 41 of Sean Powell got about a half a second lead over the 19 of Mike T. Bruno. Can Mike Bruno run him down, or is the 41 of Sean Powell going to take off and win this race? But I don't think we're done seeing the last caution of the night. What do you think, Randy?
We may have just lost the number 70 truck. I'm not sure if this is a technical issue or if he just got an incident. We're going to ride on board with this 70 machine and take a look. I think he may have been involved with a caution earlier on, but let's see if he maybe hit that incident limit going in towards 3 and 4. He gets a little, you know what? I think that's technical. I don't think he got any incidents there. I don't think he got touched. We'll have one more look, though, from behind just to make sure, as we ride on board with him once again. Let's go into the truck behind. This is Brad Neer. Does he get into the back of this number 70? Oh, he does. And right about then is when the both of them end up getting the can and pulled right off stage. So right there, one little tap, 2 cars just get poofed due to the incident limit. Thanos is pleased.
Absolutely heartbreaker for those 2 drivers, and that's one thing that's just going to make you really mad as a driver. Is I've had it happen to me before, just hitting that incident limit, and just, man, nothing you can do about it. Sometimes you're just a factor of bad circumstances, and a caution is out.
So caution out on the speedway. We'll have to take a look at what.
I believe it's going to be in turn 3 and 4.
The 56 seemed like he was slow. That's Kerry Allen Stewart. We'll see if that was indeed him.
It was the number 4 machine.
So it was the 4 truck at Timmy Logwood Jr.
Loses it.
I believe this is the lap before, lap 172. Let's see, down the front straightaway and in towards 3 and 4. And I think you're probably right. Probably just gets sent around. That's another truck that's not had a great night of racing. Already had a bunch of damage on the front end and back end of that car. He actually did a good job holding on to that. I think the only thing that really brought out the caution was the fact that he kind of had to just bring that thing to a stop. Otherwise, he pretty much would have been at risk of either hitting that pit wall on the entry or potentially even just slinging right down the pit road. And that would have been pretty much a race-ending incident either way.
It would have, Randy. No, I think that's just a factor. I mean, I've said it before. Just these drivers, they've got these setups so ungodly tight, and they took a bunch of brake bias out to make it turn. And that's what happened right there in the middle of the corner. It got on the brakes and just center around, but luckily he was able to save that machine and save his night and hopefully get a top 10 out of it.
Yep, it's definitely the situation. As to Mr. Ray Kingsbury, be sure to get, if you want to talk smack in the chat, you need to at least make sure that Matt's in there to do it. As we're going to take a quick break here on RaceSpotTV once again. Handful of drivers come down pit road. 21 is the most notable one, likely trying to get some repairs, but we'll be back in just a moment.
So, hey, this is the new iRacing scanner, right?
Yep, this is our new scanner.
Wow. And this scans all your tracks and will scan everything else around it as well?
Yeah, you can even scan yourself with it.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, don't tell Tony that I asked. Well, how do you turn it on?
You just hit this button, scan right here.
Cool. And then that's just going to move around?
Yep. It'll just do a rotation, scan away.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool. That's real cool.
Hey, Kevin, can you come to the office for a minute?
Yeah,
to show you something.
There.
So, hey, this is the new iRacing scanner, right?
Yep, this is our new scanner.
Wow. And this scans all your tracks and will scan...
after some great storytelling by the one and
You guys don't need to know. You guys don't need to know. Davis, get it, reel it in, man.
And that pace car is off as that 41 of Sean Powell is going to lead the number 19 of Mike Bruno, 27 of Scotty Reinschel, the 20 of Malik Ray off into turn 2. Look at the start the 41 of Sean Powell gets as that 19 gets right behind him. I don't know if that 19 of Bruno has got anything for him. I think he might be just trying to be safe that second position, but as a driver, you know he's going to at least try to go for it. But watch that 20 of Malik Ray. He's on that high side of the 27 of Scotty Reinschel. Can he get the advantage? Look at that run. The 27 is going to absolutely overshoot that corner. The 20 Malik Ray's going to step back, do a little chuckle, and come back off of him off of turn 3 and 4.
20 truck going to get a nice big dose of a podium position, and the 27 is going to try to get down to the bottom and make some moves, but not quite going to be able to get there. Does so a little bit in the mid corner, but that outer line is going to have a big head of steam down this back straightaway. Meanwhile, Sean Powell, he's just been checking out on the field and talking about having a dominating performance this season. That 41 truck has just been so smooth all season long.
He's definitely been smooth. Randy has lost my train of thought there, but he's got about a half a second lead on the number 19 of Mike Bruno, but he has had a very great season on that 41 machine, and he's putting it on display here tonight at New Hampshire.
Yep, definitely seems to be that situation as these guys head down the back straightaway and in towards 3 and 4. Things have gotten single filed out here pretty quick, which I think is a little bit expected, but at the same time, with 20 to go, Davis, I think you'd expect these guys to be picking up the intensity just a little bit.
Yeah, they're picking up the intensity just like the chat on YouTube is picking up their intensity there. Got a little smack talking going on. But look at that 20 of Malik Ray. If he gets past the 19 of Mike T. Bruno, can he reel in the leader of the 41 of Sean Powell? This is the battle right here. The 20 of Malik Ray goes low. Bruno goes high. Can he get him? He gets that exit speed, then he has to lift out of it.
Doing a good job into the outside. Bruno's going to hold on to that second spot, so Malik still not quite been able to get that spot taken away, despite the fact that he's tried really, really hard to be able to get there.
He has. Just going to keep watching them, but as they're battling back and forth, that 41 of Sean Powell has gotten out to about a 1 second lead over the 2. He loves what he's seeing in his rear view mirror. He wants these drivers to keep battling. 20 and Malik Ray was like, just let me by, man. If you just let me by, I know I've got something for this 41 of Sean Powell, but he's got to do it in a hurry.
Yep, as they head down in towards turn 1, that 20 truck still getting aggressive, trying to get there. I will say, if you're Malik Ray, just talking about points, you have to be really happy with the way this race has gone, Davis. With all the trouble there's been, a huge amount of it started out in front of Malik Ray, and he's been able to drive through all of it. So to even be P3 with a truck that pretty much looks like it's not been touched, that's a successful night as they get a little bit of contact. And just mention the fact that it looked like there wasn't a scratch on that kick-ass machine, and well, now something on the right front. There's likely a sponsored logo that's been scraped off of it now.
Way to bring them broadcasters curse into the night, Randy. I thought we were going to get away with it, but not quite yet, because we still got about 16 laps left to go. That 20 of Malik Ray's going to get right on the rear bumper of that 19 machine. Can he get beside him on the exit of 3 and 4? He can't quite get there. He's just got to set up his run and keep trying it lap after lap. But as they're battling, Sean Powell has got about a 1.5 second lead on these drivers.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Powell is just checked out. He's more powerful than Thanos when he managed to put together the Infinity Gauntlet after getting all the Infinity Stones. And, well, a handful of drivers have gotten sucked into the Soul Stone tonight with the way that they've been driving. Only 15 trucks still on the lead lap here. The 19 and 20 continue to do battle.
They're absolutely battling out right there. As he's the 20
Did
of
you
Malik
give him
Ray
another 300-second timeout? You doof.
I finally had to use my powers there, and hey, Randy, it feels pretty good. Just like it would feel good for this 20 of Malik Ray to get past that 19, see if he could have a shot back at the 41 of Sean Powell. Man, oh, I was about to say he's going to use that rear bumper, and he actually uses it right there. Gets him out of that groove. Doesn't quite spin him, but that 19 of Mike T. Bruno's got to be careful here with that 20 of Malik Ray. You know he's got to be getting frustrated behind that helmet. He uses that bumper. He absolutely puts him out of the groove. The 19 of Mike T. Bruno, he's going to lose 2 positions on that as the 27 of Scotty Reinschild's going to take advantage and use that low line. And that was textbook bumper. What am I trying to say here, Randy?
Textbook bump and run.
There we go, bump and run. It's been a long race here, kind of losing my train of thought, just like these drivers are losing their patience here tonight. But textbook bump and run we just seen. Didn't spin him, but he got him out of that groove and he got past him.
Yep, it's very well done, and there might be a little bit of animosity there in Mike T. Bruno. And if you're Malik Ray, you have to be a little bit worried about that here, Davis, because if there's a restart, there's a chance that 20 truck might start in line just behind, that 20 truck might start in line just ahead of that 19 machine. It would depend on which lane Sean Powell chose. He's been shooting the outside all night, but I wouldn't mind seeing a restart to see those guys kick up their fight here and allowing that 19 truck to get there.
Yeah, I think that would be some pretty exciting stuff here right now. But the most exciting part we got, can the 20 of Malik Ray reel in the 41 of Sean Power? Is it too little, too late for that 20 machine? I don't know. As we're going to look at the lap times here, as Sean Power ran a 30.025, Malik Ray ran a 30.1. He had a clean track that whole entire lap. I think that 20 machine is just going to need a caution here, and I kind of hope we get it. Kick up some fireworks here. Might have a battle for the lead and a battle with the 20 and 19, but right now the 20 and Malik Ray is just going to need a caution.
I don't think there's going to be too much in the way of a fight for the lead the way Sean Powell has been running. He's 2.1 seconds clear of the field, and this restart's only about 10 laps old, so no way I think anyone is going to get there. So as we're inside the final 10 laps, the one thing that's important to say is that if we get a caution within the next 5 to 6 laps, or maybe slightly longer, that would end the race. So hopefully we can keep it green to the end from here, 2 hours and 6 minutes after we've gone green.
Well, there's only one way to find out, is to stay tuned here on RaceSpotTV, and just that Sean Powell just absolutely put on a clinic here. His biggest fight was that 5 of Brandon Holder, but the 5 of Brandon Holder is unfortunately on pit road with a blown engine, as we've seen a great battle for the lead about 40 to 50 laps ago.
Yep, and these guys continue burning their way down the back straightaway as up and down the field. Everything is still single file. So inside of the final 10 laps, it seems to me these guys are really, really keen on getting this race over with under green, Davis, because I don't really see many close fights anywhere up and down the field. You have the 4 and the 15 who are sort of doing battle a little bit, but even then, this is for 11th and 12th, and they seem to be playing pretty nice with one another.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Randy, and I'm just going to kind of keep leading the conversation off to you as we continue to wind down the laps here tonight. But overall, we've seen a pretty good race. We've seen our fair share of cautions at the beginning, but once they got that long green flag run, and then once we've seen those green flag pit stops, that's when we really seen the intensity pick up. And man, it's been an awesome race.
Yeah, it really has. It's been a race of 2 phases, hasn't it? I'll say it, the worst half at the start, when it was just 3 to 4 laps caution, 3 to 4 laps caution, 3 to 4 laps caution. We had something like 11 or 12 cautions, and the same 8 or 9 drivers were consistently involved. That wasn't too great, but this second half has been good. There's been some good strategy calls. There were some good battles. Unfortunately, that little bit of incident with the 21 and the 41 affected a couple of those race leaders, most notably Mr. Kingsbury, and then the 5 of Holder getting the intake damage that hurt the cooling there and popped his motor. But unfortunately, those things happen, and it just looked like good racing to me.
It did, and it was definitely fun to call up here in the booth with the one and only Randy. Oh man, I messed up your man. You get it.
You can call me Randy. It's okay.
But hey, I'm looking right here.
As long as that's all right, Dave.
A bit of a battle with I believe that's going to be the 85 machine of Paul Bliss and the 04 machine of Sean Ryan. That is going to be for that 5th position.
So a little bit of fight here between Bliss and Sean Ryan, but has sort of spread out just a little bit as they head down the back straightaway inside of 5 laps to go. And now off towards 3 and 4. You see one truck pulled down to the bottom. That's a lap truck that's been circulating, basically just letting everyone through. So it looks like there might have been a side-by-side fight. There has not been. as the fight for P2 is also heating up a little bit, but Scotty Reinshield 0.2 of a second back, Davis, is just not quite close enough to really be much of a factor. They're basically just matching each other in terms of lap times. So with 4 laps to go, I think the 27 needs to hope that 20 makes some sort of mistake.
And does he get up there and fight with him? You see what Malik Ray will do to you if you get up there and hold him up. So does he even try to fight the 20 and Malik Ray, or does he just say, hey, I'm going to have me a podium finish here in that 3rd spot. I'm just going to sit here and ride back. But there's only one way to find out, is that 20 and Malik Ray has got about a half a truck length advantage over that 27 of Scotty Reinshield. And I think you're right. I think he's just sitting back and hoping he makes a mistake, as they're running pretty much identical lap times.
Yeah, the last couple laps, there's been only about 100th difference over 2 laps. So they're doing laps within a couple thousandths of one another, and there's almost no way to reel someone in doing something like that, especially when your gap is 0.2 of a second and you're getting the 2 to go signal of this time. They head down in towards turn 1. Malik Ray, 30.38 that time. Compare that to a 4.58 for Scotty Reinshield. So he's actually lost time here, as the 41 is going to head in towards 3 and 4 for the penultimate time. And now for the first time, it's all on Mr. Davis Richards to call us to the end.
Well, let's hope we don't mess this one up right here, as that 41 of Sean Powell's going to come out of turn 3 and 4. He's going to take that white flag. He doesn't have any drivers hunting him down. He's got a clean racetrack ahead of him, maybe one truck ahead of him. If he gets to that truck, he'll just let him by as he comes out of turn 2 here. We're still looking at 20 of Malik Ray and 27 of Scotty Reinshield. They're still battling out. That 20 of Malik Ray looks like he's going to come out with that 2nd place, but here comes the 41 of Sean Powell. He's coming through the middle at 3 and 4, going to take that exit into 4, going to utilize that high line, comes out of 4 with the checkered flag waving, and the 41 of Sean Powell is going to win here tonight at New Hampshire.
And what a run for that 41 truck. Malik Ray and Scotty Reinshield gonna be your top 3, but Sean Powell continues a dominating season, and that 41 Amsoil truck is basically just gonna cruise down that back straightaway and be like, man, oh man, what a race this was.
What a race indeed. Took a lot of patience, took a lot of effort out there, and a lot of mental toughness as well. See some drivers coming in. The 19 of Mike T. Bruno is going to give him a little tap to congratulate him on his victory here. But that 41 of Sean Powell absolutely deserved that win right there. An awesome performance by him, but it's kind of like what could have been with that 5 of Brandon Holder, but nonetheless, nothing to take away from the 41 of Sean Powell, as he earned that victory.
So Ray Kingsbury gets off of his 300-second timeout just in time to talk about this celebratory situation on the front straightaway, as that's a bunch of the teammates out there, I think, supporting them. Actually, no, I take that back. That's at least one of the top 3. Oh, yeah, they are all teammates. I'm not a smart man. So they start burning them down. It's going to be all up to Mr. Davis Richards as the clock starts ticking for him to go through our post-race results.
And in first place, taking the checkered flag home, is going to be the 41 of Sean Powell, followed by the 20 of Malik Ray. Seen him lead some laps at the beginning of the race, especially after the drivers went down the pit road to get those 4 fresh tires, but still wasn't able to pick up that victory. The third place in the 27 machinist Scotty Reinshield. Fourth place, the 19 of Mike T. Bruno, followed by Sean Ryan, James Torrey, Paul Bliss, Matt Kingsbury, Gregory Thompson, and the 62 of Doc Stout, putting together a nice top 10 finish. In 11th place, we're going to have Timmy Longwood Jr., Sean Mulsick, Marshall Berry, Tyler Hayes, Craig White, and the last car Craig White will be the last car on the lead lap. And then 19 laps down is going to be, in the 16th position, is going to be Kerry Allen Stewart, not the night he wanted to have. And 17th, John Ferga, Doug Lemons, Brad Neer, Brandon Holder. Seen him put a dominating performance in the first half of the race, first 3 quarters, but was not able to bring it home with an unfortunate set of circumstances that seen him in the race behind pit wall. Followed by Tim Marlowe in the 22nd position, Keith Stewart, Bobby Everhart, Everett F. Lane, Harold Deckard, Damian, I'm not even going to try to repeat that last name, Clemson, Perry Snelson, Brent Keith coming home in 29th position, Doyle Lawrence in 30th, Timothy McQueen, Brad Peterson, and rounding out the field in the 33rd position is Ryan Lange. And man, I get that a grade of about 50% for that rundown order. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere, and we're going to have the top 3 in here for interviews.
Kyle Kimball. I am the Manager of Operations in the Motorsports Department for Mazda North American Operations. We are at Bondurant Racing School here in Phoenix, Arizona, and we are putting on the Mazda Road to 24 shootout. We started with 14 qualifiers that submitted business plans to us, and from those 14, we narrowed it down to 4. Those qualifiers were Celine Roland, Tyler Casera, John Allen, and Preston Pardis.
For me, the first session was just, the memorization piece of the track. I probably was halfway through the session before I felt like there were 2 or 3 places I could push. Now I knew what was next. I already see some differences in preference of, how people approach certain turns, or certainly the braking into the first chicane is a little bumpy. So there's a lot to learn, but that's part of the fun.
So as a judge, what we're looking for from these drivers is the opportunity that they take the information that we give them. They can then make themselves a better driver on the racetrack, and then we get to see that instantaneously the next session when we go out there. So we can see whether they can listen to us and comprehend what we're saying, put it into practice, and then see the result.
I'm Jonathan Bomarito. I race the Mazda factory RT24P prototype for Mazda in the IMSA series. We've had 4 really impressive guys here today, all going for a $100,000 scholarship to run in the MX5 Cup series next year.
I'm Preston Pardis. I'm from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Actually, I've had iRacing since...
Well, welcome back to RaceSpotTV for the Espeed Contender Series presented by GBR Express Flat Track 200 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. What an awesome performance we've seen there by the 41 of Sean Powell. And we've got Brent Keith up here in the RaceSpotTV booth, and he's going to have a word with our winner, the 41 of Sean Powell.
Well, Mr. Powell, go ahead. I thought you were turning me loose, man. Go ahead, Randy. It's getting old hat here, I think, but heck of a run, Sean. Got your 6th win, leading everybody, and did us proud. I got to watch you. I got DQ'd earlier, so I got to watch you and Brandon and Matt and Malik go at it. It was actually a good second half of the race, so congrats, man. You guys earned it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for the sponsor.
Anytime, man.
This is where you take over the interview, Davis.
Well, Sean Powell, we've seen an awesome
Still
performance.
got the training wheels on, folks.
Yeah, well, this is my first race leading here, and well, stuff happens, but hey, nonetheless, great performance out there for the 41 of Sean Powell. Man, what were you thinking with that 3-wide battle there with the 5 of Brandon Holder and the 21 of Kingsbury? Just take us through your mindset of those about 6, 7, 8 laps running pretty much almost 3 wide.
I knew that if I let Holder get ahead of me, it was over, because he was just a tip-tap better than me on a long run, like a 10th or so. So I was just trying to, I knew that if we got it clear to me, he would try to pass Matt. So I had to try to pinch him up there, and Matt got loose. And I feel bad for Holder, though, because he had a good truck tonight, that's for sure. Dude, that was just a blast. That was hard, especially that bottom. It's hard to make a pass on the bottom like that, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was, but nonetheless, man, great performance out there. And you talk about that bottom line. We started to see that was pretty much the only line that you could go to pass a driver, and you said it was really difficult out there. But would you how bad would you say that would affect your lap times? Are you saying it'd affect your lap times maybe a tenth of a second so using that bottom line?
If you're by yourself, I don't think so. I mean, I ran down there a couple laps just trying to see if I can catch hold on that long run for the pit stop, and it was about he wasn't really gapping me. I wasn't really catching him, so about the same. But just I didn't like it. It was just too tight down there for me. But it was a good. I mean, what really wanted me to race is short pitting, and got ahead of Holder, and I knew I had to do something different than what he did, and that's what I did. I knew I had short run, so I could kind of maybe gap him a little bit, and it worked out.
I was about to bring up that point as well with that pit strategy. So that was pretty much a made-up move in your mind before this race even started. You say, hey, I'm going to go out there and short pit, or did it kind of come to you kind of seeing how your truck was going to run?
I was planning to pit on lap 140. Then I seen everybody else pitting, so I was like, I'll wait. Then I think I pit on like 138, 137, somewhere in that area, and it wasn't too far from my, where the lap I was originally going to pit on, but it had just had a lot to do with people pitting, and I seen Holder wasn't going in anytime soon, so I was like, I better go here and shoot in because my short run is better than his, so might as well take advantage of it.
Well, you did a lot better performance than I did in the broadcasting booth up here. But before we let you go, you got any final words or anyone you'd like to thank?
I want to thank Brent for sponsoring the race. I want to thank Randy and you, Davis, and RaceSpotTV for doing all this. Just, I'll probably go rewatch the race tonight or tomorrow sometime. I want to thank Stuart for the series, Amzol, and I want to thank Amzol for the sponsorship and for the opportunity they bring on board. Thank Gen X, Scotty, Mike for all the work, all the strategy work and stuff that goes in every week. And other than that, man, I'm just trying to rack up points for the championship, honestly.
Well, when you go back and watch this race, don't try to be too amazed by me and Randy's commentating skills here, as I would say they were too subpar here tonight, but nonetheless, congratulations.
Don't wrap myself in with you there.
Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, was the 41 of Sean Powell taking in the checkered flag here tonight at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Well, Randy, you want to have a word with our second place finisher, Malik Ray?
I sure will. I will talk to that 20 machine who's apparently not done talking to Scotty Reinshield, but Malik Ray, driver of that number 20 kick-ass beef jerky machine. I think that's a new sponsor you got on that car, Malik. The beef jerky making it fast?
Yes, it's a new sponsor. I'm happy that they came on board, but yeah, we had a pretty good car. It wasn't that bad. It's just I was lacking speed on the straights. That's all it was.
It definitely can be an issue here, but I mean, talking about this racetrack, talk about some of the intricacies of running here, because saw some very interesting racing lines here tonight as well as in the peak race last night in New Hampshire. I mean, getting used to the racing line here is sort of weird because you look at a top-down view of the track and then you see the way you actually have to run this place. The line's kind of off kilter from what you would typically expect due to some of the banking. What are some of the other difficulties about running here, compared to some other flat milers that you might go to, like Milwaukee?
Having to pass here is very, very, it's just very hard, because if you get on the bottom, you have to worry about not sliding up into the guy, and the guy on the outside, there's not a lot of grip on the outside off the corner, so they might, get loose and come down into you. It's just really hard to pass here, in general.
Well, thanks for joining us, Malik, and congratulations to that number 20 Aero Refinement Group car. Who gets it done for you, and how you looking forward towards next week?
So I just want to thank JD Laird for the new paint scheme, and Kick-Ass Beef Jerky for coming on board and giving me the opportunity. And if you want, sorry, this is a lot of stuff to say. The promo code for for 10% off of the beef jerky is iRace10, and I'm looking forward to next week.
All right, well, good luck to you, Malik. Hope to see you run strong.
Thank you.
Well, third place finisher tonight and stood by with Mr. Davis Richards. That 27 truck of Scotty Reinshield, he rounds out the podium tonight.
Well, Scotty, you come out with a podium finish here tonight at New Hampshire with that third place finish. Man, we were watching you all night. You really kind of had an up and down day. Went in the back of the pack, were able to make your way back forward. How tough was it out there tonight, especially at such a flat track like New Hampshire?
It's real tough. I got myself in trouble there early by changing lanes a little early on the restart and had to do a drive-through, and things played out where I could get back up through without getting caught up in anything, and it's real tough because the difference in the sets seems like it was more in the first 15 or so laps, and then everybody kind of leveled off and was pretty equal, and with those cautions, you end up restarting on 10 to 15 lap old tires, then everybody's even. So it was a real dogfight. Those last 25, 30 laps were a lot of fun. It was a great race, and we had a good truck this week.
Well, we were watching you through there. You were kind of hanging behind Malik Ray and then Mike T. Bruno. What was going through your mind with that little bump to pass there Malik Ray did on the 19, and you were able to get by the 19 machine and get that third place finish?
Well, Mike's my teammate, so I didn't really want to have to get by him there, but didn't want to get hung up. So we got it straightened out, and then I got up there close to Malik, and I wasn't really wanting to push anything that late in the race. Maybe if we were 1-2, I'd have pushed it a little more, but I was surprised, when they got into each other, but it's so tough to pass here, and that's sometimes what it takes to make up positions. So Malik probably thought he had a chance if he got by, maybe he could get up to Sean. So that's part of it, I guess. Nobody likes to be on the receiving end of that, but I think at least it worked out to where it was just a little bump and not sending up into the wall or anything. So
Yeah, you're right. You never really want to see that, but at least he was able to keep on going and pull that machine to that fourth place finish, and you came out here with the podium. And we were watching you ride behind Malik Ray. I think you might have had something for him. We were talking here in the booth, and we were saying, man, he's probably just riding back there, come away with a good points finish, and come out with a podium finish as well. Was that kind of your mindset, or do you think you might have had something left in the tank and just didn't want to push the issue?
Yeah, I was kind of the mindset I was going to just ride unless he messed up, but I probably could have pushed it. We would have had to, it would have been a real dogfight, to get by him. He's one of the better drivers on the service, and he wouldn't have made it easy on me. And I just didn't think racing for second and third, it didn't make a lot of sense to put ourselves in that position.
Well, and that kind of mindset right there wins championships, being steady and consistent. Well, before we let you go here, you got anyone else you want to thank?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Obviously, my team, Gen X Racing, AMSOIL, who supports us, Folds of Honor. It's a great charity that we try to support. My team around me in the series, Sean, and Mike. We got a good truck put together again this week. Corey on the box, crewing and spotting for us. That was a big deal tonight. Short track racing, close racing, really helped. And you guys for putting up a good broadcast so that all my friends and family can watch. And shout out to them for hopefully it was worth watching tonight.
Well, it's definitely worth watching up here in the booth, but congratulations on your podium finish. We'll look forward to seeing you out there next week, Scotty.
Thank you, guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that right there was the number 27 machine of Scotty Reinshield. But before we let you go, just an awesome race we've seen here tonight. First of the race didn't really go like anyone wanted to see it go, but once we got that little bit of green flag run and seen those drivers go down pit road, that's when the battle really started heating it up. There was different strategies throughout the night, different factors came into play, but overall, great night of racing here tonight at New Hampshire, presented by GBR Express. Randy, you got any final thoughts?
1 second as I'm typing out a quick message here. It was an exciting race. It definitely seemed like it was going to be the kind of race that was not super fun to watch the way it started out, but luckily things got a little bit impressive at the end there, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me and Randy. Next week, Justin Prince will be back in the booth with myself, and we'll bring you some live action back here at RaceSpotTV. But from now, this is good night.